Can you hear me now? This is weird. I am muted. All right. That is some strange shit. I shouldn't be, but I'm going to try to fix it. It's weird. Let's see if I can't give me a moment. Let's try something a little different. This is what I get for being late and late on prep.
Do you want the Star Wars trilogy and the mythology to go beyond your lifetime?
No. 3 will be the last film, and it'll be a 6-part series, and that'll be the end of it.
Incorrect.
You're not mentoring someone to take over for you?
No, it's
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
There may be other venues for it, but not in the theatrical release.
Affirmative.
I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek. I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek.
All right. How do you think? Is this better? Oh, you can hear me now? All right. Well, cool. I don't know what the hell happened. Hello to everybody. I hope you like my little George Lucas buying time thing there. So he doesn't want it to turn into Star Trek. I'm 5x5 now. You know what? With the buffering and all, now I should be really good. I turned on the audio enhance and everything. So, okay. Hey, it wouldn't be Admiral Teague's show if we didn't start out weird. So here's the deal. 97 years ago today, by my account, we had the debut of Fritz Lang's Metropolis. So just in time to mark the destruction of Megalopolis, which we have to assume there was some kind of relation. I'll see it when it's free. Megalopolis seems to be okay. So, by the way, RRTNZ is responsible for today's second piece of breaking Star Trek news. Tomorrow's The Wild Geese will have a guest. It was a request. This one was a request by one of my oldest subscribers and one of my favorite movies. We're going to watch Wild Geese tomorrow. It's got some great stars in it. It's got James Bond. It's got Richard Burton. It's got, English Bob. Y'all fucking love this movie. Let me tell you, it's great. It's a fun time. And you know what? I can't wait to do it. And it's good to see DJ Ronnie G. It's good. I should have looked a little harder, but hey, we're all here now. It's spread the word that I'm here. Hello, Radioactive. And hello to that Admiral Teag guy who keeps following me around. Tim, so yesterday I got a call from I got a DM from RRTNZ when I set up the stream because I'm a man of my word, and he told me, hey, by the way, Tim, happy birthday. Are you right there? You got an ad already? That's crazy. It's not set that high. That might be them, but I'm going to strongly look into that one while I continue to tell you what happened. So RRTNZ gave me the information that, hey, Mr. House Party 6. And by the way, today's other story is that breaking news, David Bowie has passed away at 79 in 2016. 9 Bowie-free years. Starman Bowie and always changing was the best Bowie. Industrial Bowie includes The Heart's Dirty Secret and all his second time that he retired. Remember that crazy shit? And brush cut MTV Bowie would be considered Tin Machine Bowie as well. Radioactive, if you watch the Tin Machine video, you can see most of my friends from college, but not me. I did not. I was not somehow didn't make the final cut on that one, but that was just a live show. We had no idea what the hell it was. We went in there and it was like, that non-rhythmic band singer sounds like David Bowie. Wow, that non-rhythmic band singer is David Bowie. This is like a soupy sales joke. If you know, you know. But anyway, it looks like Industrial Bowie and Brushcut Bowie are getting no love. I would give my vote to Brushcut MTV Bowie. That's my favorite Bowie. But so here's what happened. After I set up the stream for tomorrow, someone got it. And hail, John, it's good to see you. I'm sorry that I was late, guys. What can I tell you? And I'm sorry that I didn't realize that I had sound and thought I didn't have sound. What can I tell you? It's a fun show. I next time I'm just gonna go check myself on YouTube before I flip out there. But you know what? Now we have the beautiful enhanced sound, and you know what? So Lance Nielsen will be here tomorrow. author of Silver Screen Journeys. He'll be talking about his Wild Geese movie. It was a story that stuck with RRTNZ. It's a great story. I got the first line of it. I'm not going to give away any more of it. Yeah. Oh man, that's that's what a voice, right, Mr. House Party 6? Like, and if you say run, I'll run with you. And if you say hide, I'll hide. Take a look, by the way, and make sure that we're not abusing you with too much here in the way of ads. If I don't turn the ads on, they will not tell you that I'm on, right? So if I don't turn it on, like no one's here. If I turn it on and I turn it on bad, it's set for every 20 minutes. It shouldn't have happened. I think, you know what? There's also overlapping YouTube stuff that happens, and YouTube is stepping up has stepped up their price and is stepping up, their frequency of ads, which means, I guess, get a better blocker. They're basically saying that they have to show twice as many ads because half as many people bother to watch, which is sort of like saying, get the tech. But that's the deal. So today is David Bowie passed away at 69 in 2016. In 1870, John D. Rockefeller incorporated Standard Oil of California. He's a character who's like deeply influential on 1923. The 1923 people have an evil version of Rockefeller, like all over the man. He's a problem. Rod Stewart, born on this day in 1945. That means that the Rodster, Rod the Mod, will be like hitting the big 80 this year, right? He's got to be 79 going in. So is that 80? Wow. Holy smoke, man. You're old, Rod. Mr. Ivanka, born in 1981, just to use a name that won't get me in trouble. Mr. Red's son-in-law. That's right, Mr. Ivanka. He was born this day. HBD to the United Nations, born somewhere in the UK, met for the first time on this day. Story the second, which is really story the first, because happening today is just to get everybody here and on the right page. And good evening to all of you. It's good to see you. And I've left that chat up far too long. Hello to you. I'm sorry about that. I screwed the settings down as low as I foreseeably could. I set it to more than my average watch time, but less than it's 3 times longer than network. So we'll see what happens. If no one knows I'm here, I might as well not do a show. Did I want to run AdSense? Nope. JT is here. Hell, JT already knows about today's show. It's called Doom Scrolling with Admiral Teag, where we just talked about the things that happened all day. By the way, 1946 was the last thing. Story number 2 is Skeleton Crew has tanked. It's tanked. It's tanked. It's tanked. It's tanked. It's tanked. It's over. It's done. It's finished. It's finished. It's finished. A lot of people they say There Will Be Blood was inspired by the Rockefellers. I don't know. It seems possible. The thing is, I love There Will Be Blood, and Timothy Dalton just basically was told, study this character, be this character from this movie, and he's just being the There Will Be Blood character. He is so evil and so powerful in 1923. I can't wait for this amazing former Bond to return to the screen, and we've got some Bond action tomorrow. Who knows what we'll get? I mean, as a streamer, I know that only person who's going to be showing up for sure at my stream is me. And that's not even certain. I might show up and not have any voice in what's going on. But you know what? Here we go. It's good to know that we have the Skeleton Crew out there. Supposedly less bad Star Wars. That's what they call it now. Less bad Star Wars. What can you do? What can you do? Just read a bit that while reading about Rudolph Diesel. Oh man. You know what? He's 80 now. Yeah, Rod is 80. He's 13 years younger than Captain Kirk. William Shatner's birthday is in just a few more weeks. It's going to be amazing. And I always love when JT comes by because I get to see the avatar from Stunning and Brave Megatron, which is really just a great piece of work there. You know what? One day we got to talk to Stunning and Brave about maybe Pierce Brosnan in a leather pea coat kind of an avatar. But it's good to see everybody. And it's I wouldn't want to for the Flames TV. You know what? Yeah, real quick before we get into that one. Boy, was I ever wrong. I apologize. I was wrong to be fooled by the media. What happened was the media is 2 days behind. I'm now seeing what happened 2 days ago on my TV. As JT can tell you, like, I sequester myself from all news and information so that I can be as uninformed as possible and just get as much as my information from my friends and people that I trust. Like, usually the first I hear something is Culture Casino. Culture Casino is my news. You know what I mean? Then I'll check around. Then based on what's trending, I'll do my research. I'll look into the world of Star Trek. We got some stuff on that coming up. Doomcock is the evening news. He'll be on later. He's great. But, that's kind of like, these are the people I count on for the information. And as far as, first of all, the media did what the media always did first. They came and they reported, this is like, they were using the proper terms, and we didn't know this. Here's the deal. If you live in any other part of the country, there's a fire in Hollywood, specifically the Hollywood part of LA and the Hollywood Hills and all that stuff, every like 8 to 10 years. And it's become sort of this weird thing for the rest of the country to watch, because the news goes out there and they cover it. And they're like, this terrible tragedy. All these people are losing their homes, everything they have. And like, damn, that's terrible. And then you see something that you don't see anywhere else, which is, and who knows, like credit cards and other things and lease deals. Maybe like there are people who are legitimate celebrities who have no wealth. You know what I mean? Like, but you see what you see. The procession of 6-figure cars. And they're like, here come the refugees. And you're like, well, this just isn't jibing in my freaking mind. So I said a couple of glib things, and boy, do I feel like a jackass, because I was stupid. I was just stupid. I didn't go way too far, because I started to get a sense that maybe this was more than just the usual fire. Then I find out that the areas that are always affected don't seem to have been affected. So this is not the usual procession, but they showed us the same stuff. It was like high-end stuff. And when you look on YouTube, it's like, I feel horrible for Denise Tasha Yar Crosby. She's a great actress, in my opinion, in Star Trek. I feel that their greatest mistake ever was not making her a movie villain. It was a terrible, terrible mistake. And I also feel she's making another terrible mistake by saying she's going to post on X more and talk to people on X more for comfort. You're going to get trolled, unfortunately, on X. But X is where I got my information. So once I realized that LA was the way it was, I then chose to apologize to the people I offended, especially the ones I knew, because they're my friends. Sean Carter set me straight in a compassionate way and told the story that was amazing about California. And wow, RRT and said thank you, interrupting my apology with a welcome $5 very generous New Zealand super chat. It's not New Zealand, it's RRTN Zland. And thank you, my friend. Best moment in sci-fi movie history. Skynet screaming, sorry, Dave, I can't do that. It's Agent Smith at number 5, blast the Borg Queen into the MCP. You know what? I tried to do that in my editing in the beginning for the show, right? The actual videos that I put together for the opening. It's like old music that I played. I hope you like the guitar solo. I cut out the vocal. It doesn't apply. Like, it's a little bit of a jump cut, but it's original music I can't get stung for, and it's pretty fun. If you don't like it, I apologize. But you know what? It's not as long as most people's beginnings, and I found it takes that long to get people through the door. But yeah, you know what? If you notice in the edited beginning for the weekday show, and the weekdays, and welcome everybody. The weekdays, what's important is to get out things that are like a little more substantial. There are great people on this forum and on X and on YouTube, who are going out there and they're making news and they're breaking news and they're saying things. And you know what? I'm trying to be, somewhere in the middle of, I want to be current. We live, as Natalie Portman said in Revenge of the Clones, we live in the real world, come back to it, which was a weird statement in the theater that started just one of a bunch of things that had me wondering during that statement. Was he nerf hurting? Was Anakin nerf hurting during that? Was that what those things are? Because if that's what those things are, I want the Death Star to go back to Naboo. If we could just choose one more planet, that should be the next poll. What should be if you could choose one more planet? Thank you, RRTNZ. But by the way, in the edited beginning of the show, when in some versions, when you see the bad robot, it starts a procession of bad robots. It's like Starbuck and a Cylon. It's Cylon number 6. It's it's one bad robot after another. It's Picard, but it's when he's a bad robot. I show as many bad robots as I can in a row because I know they're looking for me and they have their AI looking for everybody who does what I do. And honestly, I believe I've said it here before and I'll say it again about this medium. Now that we are the news, you know what? But I did try to put some bad robot symmetry into my editing. RRTNZ, I thank you very much. I thank you very much. You're one of our greatest supporters, and one day, you have to be on here with me. And you know what? It was wonderful to go to the the Will Jordan meetup, as we call it. We'll talk more on that one later. But and RRTNZ has held at JT because he recognizes a powerful voice for quality Star Trek. And here we go. Oof, I'm wincing. I know this is going to be bad. Here we go. Marina Dirtbag Sirtis has her house threatened. I wonder if how she feels about her politics now. I've gone on shows and I've been spoken for, and I haven't disagreed because I haven't disagreed with people. You guys know more or less where I'm at. I've been honest about my evolving, ongoing political journey that has happened the minute I got here, going through the rest of my life, retroactively back from the moment that I signed up to vote and signed up for selective service because I was born a man. There goes monetization, right? What can I tell you? You know what? I will say this. It was seductive at first for some people, and I knew people who kind of thought oh yeah, she really got them. And I just went like a couple of weeks without heat. And now I got through it, and I didn't need a GoFundMe for it, and it was never considered. It did cost a bunch of money, but I was able, I will get everything I spent back. Is it going to be bologna sandwiches for a couple weeks? Yeah. I mean, even don't feel compelled to give to me either on YouTube. If you want to join my community and support me, I'm going to make another video next week now that I have heat. And I'm sorry that you didn't get last week's video, but I was just on my couch and every surface I touched hurt and the end of my fingers throbbed. Here's the deal. Half the heat's been broken in my apartment for the entire winter. But then the entire building went out. So my freezing cold apartment dropped down to outside temperature. Now, what did I do? I went out and bought a space heater because I can, and because my landlord will have to pay for it. And I just put the receipt in with my rent and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But it wasn't easy. And I had it better than most people in this situation. And I had money on that credit card to go do it. And I knew that because I had a contract, because I lived a decent life, I could, go and buy that space heater. But it's all because America works on goodwill. And that's what I have here is only your goodwill on this platform. And let's face it, it's probably more about X than the other one now. But on this platform, what we have, we are a will to power and nothing more, maybe they say. I mean, I believe there is something more and that there's something watching over us. But as far as us being a will to power, the fact that I have double digits watching now, I'm just grateful for that. The worldwide appeal of Star Trek has given me a worldwide audience, which means only the proportionate amount of Star Trek fans that are in America are online and awake when I'm online and awake. Let's see. I feel bad that here's the thing. Marina Sirtis was able to seduce a bunch of people into liking her tweet. And now I bet you that there's been a couple of people who just didn't get online for her at a con or something like that. But I'll say this, she probably doesn't know. She probably didn't care that she was ratioed. Tuvok is the same way. Don't get me wrong, I'm still not the nicest guy in the world. I still make coffee with tears. I'm still collecting hater tears to make a micro brew, which I'll drink on the air. That's the only time I'll drink on the air. Oh, and I'm going to drink at Super Bowl. Come on. I'm doing it. I'm not even doing it on my channel. Super Bowl, I'm going to do with Outlaw Bill. If we could pick one more planet for the Death Star to whack, it has to be the Acolyte Prime. You know what? That show is part of story number 2. Man, that Star Wars girl, God bless you for being beautiful, cool, and changing your name to Lucas SW Girl, at Lucas SW Girl, Lucas Star Wars Girl on X. Despite all the faux praise, I read her tweet from roughly noon Eastern. Despite all the faux praise, Skeleton Crew is the least watched Star Wars show on Disney Plus, even less than Acolyte. According to, and then she posted this. Okay, it was a screenshot, so I couldn't follow her sourcing. So her source is her source, and my source is her. But here's the deal: according to Nielsen streaming data, Skeleton Crew has streamed for less than 382 million minutes watched. 382 million minutes watched is not a whole lot. Oh my God, RRTNZ. I will get to that joke in 1 minute. Let me get through this this Disney story. And my God, the generosity. You are the best, man. Oh, Independence Day is one of my favorites. I'm gonna have fun reading that chat. But get this. So according to Nielsen streaming data, Skeleton Crew has less than 382 million minutes watched. Now, for context, this show has like something like 700 hours watched a month, right? Okay, this channel. So like that's your baseline, okay? However many minutes that is. For comparison, last month was like the all-time high. It was like 11.5 thousand people watched me, okay? And we had like close to 800 hours, okay? We did all right. And then you can figure out what happened. Okay, The Mandalorian Season 2 had 1,032 million minutes, which is dysgraphic and dyslexic math, to say the least, but it's math that everyone can kind of understand. It's actually harder to understand for smart people what we've done to math. So this is their number one thing here, right? They are leading with The Mandalorian Season 2, right? So that's the one with all the backdoor pilots. The Mandalorian had caught on. And even though it got a little dumb and a little boring, and it really was slow and kind of meandering for most of the season, Mandalorian Season 2 looked like it was setting up a world of good things. So we're willing to trust it, right? So here's our baseline. Mandalorian Season 2 is our first bullet point, 1,032 million minutes. Book of Boba Fett is our second at 389 million minutes. 389 million minutes. So the episode length for context is in there for some reason on this one instead of The Mandalorian. I guess because the Mandalorian episodes can vary by up to like 3-4 minutes. 37 minutes long for the Book of Boba Fett, including credits. Now, they knew it was a disaster, like on launch there, maybe before. They were cutting episodes while they were filming episodes. They were cutting stories out while they were filming stories that were still continuing. It was a disaster, but I thought it was a positive sign for damage control, but it didn't work out. So that's Book of Boba Fett, 389 million minutes, 37-minute episodes. So then Obi-Wan Kenobi, 1,026 million minutes. So Mando Season 2, 1.32 million, 1,032 million. Book of Boba Fett drops right off at 389 million. Episode length, 37 minutes, including credits. So like now we're getting context because these things drop off the map after a couple of episodes. This is why we're getting context. Ready? So Obi-Wan Kenobi, 1,026 million minutes. But that's over 2 episodes. So I'm guessing their premiere event, right? Because they dropped 2 at once. And then no one went back. No one went back to make a dent in this stupid fucking story. It was hate watching and people like watching for lols. Next is Andor. 624 million minutes for 3 episodes. Andor was slightly better than the other Star Wars stuff. It was slightly better. They didn't make the obvious, stupid, like mind-blowingly, numbing story disengaging mistakes, like showing us stuff that's part of our world, making mistakes or having a low-effort future. But they did it by going to places that were remote, so there would never be a contrail in the sky, and there would never be any telephone wires in the picture, and so there would never be anything that would be from our world, no cars driving by, for instance. So there was also nothing from the future. It might as well have been people from the future trapped on like a caveman planet. It was like a caveman planet, RRTN said. And I promise I'm getting to the chat, but you'll appreciate this point. And I know you will, but let me just highlight it for you. I thank you. So Andor, 624 million. You see this trend here. It's like getting weird now, right? It's a little higher than the other one, but like Andor, like that's a lot of episodes. 3 episodes of that one. They were odd length. I think that adds up to a 90-minute movie, that first 3-episode arc. People liked that first 3-episode arc, but then it really ground to a halt. Mandalorian 3, 823 million minutes, off 200 million minutes from 1,032. I can tell you right now, that's about 20%. Okay, Hulka, 829 million minutes for 2 episodes. 2 episodes, 829 million minutes. So, approaching Mandalorian level, but that was before Mandalorian Season 3, which no one cared about. I guess a lot of people had to see it through attitude. And then at the bottom there, Acolyte, 488 million minutes, 2 episodes, 41 minutes plus, 36 minutes long. Okay, 41 minutes plus 36 minutes. So in other words, that's 78 minutes. And all these include credits. And these are credits like a prawn movie. So thank you, Star Wars girl, for that information. Now I will read my super chat. I'm so sorry, RITNZ, but you know what? I did acknowledge it quick. So I wanted to have some cohesion, unlike these stories that we're forced to watch and review. Sorry, the real best moment in sci-fi movies equal Ripley held E.T. phone home while chasing the Predator through District 9 to Devil's Tower on Independence Day, where she didn't go quietly into the night. Just my Scottish imitation start to creep in when I read RRTNZ's chats. He is such a great pal and such a great basically like pal. You know what? Like, he gave me a great tip today, so we'll have a fantastic guest for you tomorrow. And whether or not we have the most bangers freaking watch party in the whole freaking world, it won't matter, because we're going to have a great, great destination stream where you're going to get a guy's reaction. We've done these war movies before. The assumption here is always you've seen the movie. The movie's from 1978 or 9. You've seen The Wild Geese. It's going to be fun. You'll get to watch it again with friends. You can watch it again alone right there and just mute me if that's how you feel. And I don't mind. I'll forgive you. Turn me back on afterwards for my thoughts and analysis. But you know what? We're going to get, thanks to my good friend, RRTNZ, whose second $7 very generous New Zealand super chat has, basically funded today's show. Now, if I hadn't already have turned on the AdSense, I would play some AdSense music. But if I don't turn on low AdSense, they don't send anyone here. They don't send anyone here. No one. If the people start showing up for a couple of days, I'll try turning it down even lower. This is like about as low as it goes. I'm sorry. It's about, if I just do this show and no one knows about it, what's the point? So moving on. The bold plan to save Snow White. I had recently seen episode of Two Guys Talking. It was fun. I was once one of the two guys talking. That's a guys with a Z. You should sub that channel. It's fun. It's my old pal Appion and our pal. You see him sometimes here in the chat, Rocco the Brave. He's an American Guardian. He'll talk about that heritage with you. It's good stuff. But I think Appion was the first one to say this. When I saw the final stuff now for the trailer coming out for Snow White, whoa. First of all, they're on some steps. So I don't know what they did. I'm going to assume they tried to equal the characters in height, and the steps were being used to show a disproportion in the power dynamic. But it still appears to me that Gal Gadot is a good 8 inches a foot, 32 centimeters taller than our pal. And I say that's, it's sort of snidely. Rachel Ziegler. Okay. She's much taller than Rachel Ziegler. And she's looking, towards Rachel Ziegler, who's like, she's down a couple of steps from the evil queen. But Appion said this one first, and I agree. You can still save the movie if you switch roles. Just switch roles, man. You can save that movie. That's my thought here. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm gonna go and open up a so I can get you guys a link. Okay. I think I've got it covered. So here's after that crazy news. Ready? Tachyon Pulse podcast is something one of you guys turned me on to. You guys are my best source of information. My first real YouTube show that I was addicted to was actually EFAP. EFAP was the first show I came to love. And I listened to that for maybe 2 or 3 months before I even found out about DC and the other people out there doing it. Like for me, YouTube was the EFAP machine for a while, and then the Mauler machine. I knew about Critical Drinker because he was getting cross-posted in other media. For me, I wasn't on X until I did this much. For my first X account got shut down for saying that Harfoot should be airstruck. And I think everyone believes me. Oh my God. Hey, Outlaw Bill, last one. Thanks. Well, you know what? RRTN's up at the third. Very generous New Zealand super chat. And I'm only about a minute late on this one. I'm inside the same minute. And Tales of the Lost super chat in a moment. Last one. The very best moment. Vader snarling, calm as he fired the wave motion gun to destroy the Cylons and free Arrakis from Ming the Merciless. Where's Buddy Hepburn? He was checking off some of the same stuff on X I like today too. RRTNZ, the perfect mashup. I think RRTNZ may have created another person with his humor. It may be quote unquote spreading or metastasizing. You know what? You did a great job putting together all those sci-fi franchises. And I think maybe it was a little bit of an influence on Obi-2 Wrath of Khan Obi, because I believe we have a junior RRTNZ in the budding with him. And I haven't seen our pal lately. I hope that he's all right. Has anyone seen him? And also, let me finish up the other thing. I'm a freaking idiot for thinking that it was just like the Hollywood Hills. This thing's all over their city. I got proportion on it today. I don't watch the news for a very important reason, because I don't believe it, because it's always a couple of days behind. This was more confirmation bias on my problem with the news. Chris Gore gave me the first reporting from on the spot. Then today, the guys on NerdTube, good guys. They mostly do wrestling. They also do new Star Trek. They like that stuff, though. So, fair warning. They're good guys, but they like that stuff, all right? And, it was a real weird NerdTube. I was agreeing with Cheeto left and right. That doesn't happen a lot. Zam was actually making points that I agreed with, too, but usually I do agree with Zam. And I didn't see Rage Mage, but the new guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he was good. Was it Rage with a different name? I don't know, but I am still alive, and I was trying to get in touch with you. Are we hanging out for the football game? We got football coming up with my new team, the Ravens. That's right. I'm free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm not a Jet fan anymore. F you, crazy owner. Screw off, stupid rookie coach. Go to hell, dumb rebuilding plan for another 4.5 years. I love the Ravens. They've got a great team. Baltimore is like a horrible city, but it's just as hard and far away as New Jersey when you factor in the traffic jam. I'm talking to my friend who also can't stand our stupid owner, and we're going to probably become Ravens fans. I'm already saying things like day trips to Fort McHenry. Like my best friend, my godson is in the Navy, and it's my best friend's son. And, Michael, if you listen, Uncle Teag loves you. But you know what? I was like I'm tempting his dad. I'm like, day trips to the Navy Museum at the home port of the Continental Army. And he's like, that's far less time than it would take us to get even to the gate of the Meadowlands. It's like the Jets and their whole experience are selling this. The 5-hour plane ride to London, if I could roll off the plane to the stadium, guess what? Same shit. Beer, same price. The original reason we got rid of season tickets was the season ticket tailgate tent. But tachyons are the ultimate plot device. Tachyon Pulse has a story here. There's right now in the pipeline, with various degrees of credibility as to how far it's gone and what's going on, the Tachyon Pulse, and RRTN says, right, it is the ultimate plot device. So check out these guys. You might want to sub this guy. He's got half as many subs as me. He's criminally undersubbed and criminally overwatched. But wow, 800 likes. I haven't done that in a while. I have done it, but it's been a while. 800 likes, hats off, and one of those likes is from me. This is good information as far as so far Tachyon Pulse has not been disproven, and I am starting to re-report him as just, in context, he's the Tachyon Pulse. He's good. He's one of my sources as part of my Star Trek homework. One of you recommended him to me, but that's the deal. There's supposed to be a Firefly reboot. The Firefly reboot involves Joss Whedon on some level. The level of involvement's not known. Remember, poor Whedon. Well, he's not poor, he's wealthy, but wealthy Whedon is kind of an idiot, and he's on Me Too Island through kind of his own doing. Not that everyone who's legit there isn't by their own doing. Like Harvey Weinstein belongs there. You know what I mean? There's a few legit residents and a few castaways on Me Too Island. Here's the deal. This took so much research to find out why Joss Whedon got the Me Too thing. People really just went after him because he was woke. Joss Whedon was as woke as could be. He just self-described as a woke bae. And Joss Whedon just like he was like really in thick with like the extreme part, the extremist, most extreme part of the left. Now, if he tries to explain this away as a business decision, I might believe it because he was getting away with more stuff than most people. But like he had an activist wife, he had an activist based career, and he was repeating the same lucrative things to say and using his, hey, Buddy Hepburn, we checked a lot of the same stuff on X today, man. Power Slave in 1984 was a long thought process, huh, buddy? So anyway, this is the deal. The Firefly show is coming back. It's supposed to be something like a dignified emphasis on redemption, like Last Jedi. Like he's going to start out low. They're going to bring, it's Nathan Fillion's idea. So it's not like to debase him. So he's not an idiot with this. And his new show, The Rookie, has got him in good with a few people. Nathan Fillion is now more well-connected than anyone to do with the Firefly Project. And he loves it, right? He loves it. But there's some kind of weird thing going on here. See, the Fox network got bought up by our pals, the House with the mouse. And we could talk about them for like hours if we want. They have been dramatic and dramatically weird all day and all week, man. I don't care for the shrill tones that resonate from her rooster holster. Ah! Oh my God. Oh my God. You guys are the funny. Just come here to fucking meet each other, you know? For you've been there. I was there as a very young child. My parents brought me there as a very young child. Isn't John Paul Jones buried nearby, right? The Navy's like original headquarters is there. The coolest thing about the movie Gettysburg, Tim will know this, is there's a British observer, and I didn't know that he was real, but he is. That wasn't a plot device character. He was really there. I thought he might have just been like a convenient real person to attach to the story, but that guy proved everything. That book is authoritative. Dialogue and inner thought processes made up, but that guy, Michael Shara, reinvented the history novel when he did that factual book. What a great book. In The Killer Angels, Armistead is a Confederate general, and the British observer says to him, I'm told that your grandfather was the major who defended the Fort McHenry from the British bombardment when that Sir Francis Scott Key wrote that song about. Making you the heir of the guardian of the very first Star-Spangled Banner. And it's like, it's true. And he's like, he acknowledges it. And then he's just like, talks about how his duty to statehood first came, before his duty to the flag, which was proven to be wrong. And we're all going to have to pull together if we're going to pull our buddies in LA out of this one. But let's not hector them for past decisions. Let's talk about the future. A lot of people had an eye-opening experience. I don't know. Can Governor Goodhair survive the heat? No pun intended. Well, pun intended. Tachyons. What about tachyoffs? They just don't get any love, says Radioactive. Radioactive, you have a passport if you want to use it. Mr. House Party 6, I hear she's a favorite among the pug demographic. Ooh, are we talking about Rachel Ziegler? Rachel Ziegler is the queen of bad movies. She's just so dumb. You know what? Like, where's her hit? Her Hunger Game movies perform modestly for a Hunger Game movies. And you know what? Here's the thing about these weekday chats. On the Star Trek shows, we are very focused. And today I finally tracked down and communicated directly with Ruby Hoove in a verifiable way, because Ruby Hoove gave a nice, generous second time giving of a channel membership. And I was a couple of minutes late because when I do the Saturday Star Trek show, I don't engage as much with you guys as I want to. And it's because that show has made the transition and I had to learn fast. Okay. We got a lot of new people in a way that I regret the way it happened. I would rather be at 1,000 than the way it happened, but You wanted this, and you got it. And part of being an entertainer and part of entertaining on people on YouTube is giving the people what they want. Rachel Ziegler, says RRTNZ, has a great singing voice. She has to have one because they're giving such great reviews to her Broadway performance in that Romeo and Juliet that looks like shit. It was stage designed like shit. It looks like it's a version of Romeo and Juliet based on the Leonardo DiCaprio Claire Danes movie. Rachel Ziegler has a great singing voice. I bet she does. Unfortunately, she somehow feels qualified to lecture the rest of us, and no one likes being lectured by a smug miniature stick insect. Yeah, she looks a little insectoid, doesn't she? So did young Gabrielle Union. Go watch She Hate Me. I want to thank fellow YouTuber and acquaintance Ranker Steve for suggesting that we do Taylor Sheridan shows. It didn't work out for Lioness. It was a good suggestion, but that show wasn't for us. And I understand that they fixed some of the issues, but thanks for that one, man. Really, honestly, thank you. It was a good suggestion. 1923 and 1923 material, which will now be a week late because of this show, has done really well for this channel. And we find at the end of 1883, and I told Radioactive this, their trail, they'll end up at, like, because I didn't watch Yellowstone Prime, it spoils 1923 and it spoils 1883. And 1923 destroys 1883. But 1923's information is in Yellowstone. In Yellowstone, they flash back to 1893. So weird stuff there, right? I want to tell you all about it. Shut up! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go on and on. I'm sorry, General. I'll go back to the front. Let's see. And you've been to Fort McHenry. Hell, Lombardy 1969 this year. Let me see. We can go down to the bottom and see if there's anyone else coming in. John, the Beagle Dad. Yeah, we're talking about Rue. John, I'm glad we got to talk that day. I'm glad that I was able to, talk to you a little bit. I'm glad that, the dog had the best life, the best care, not enough life, but the best love. And I got to say, you're taking it like a champ. And I admire the stoicism you showed when we had our conversation, and I admired your judgment with social media, man. A lot of people that upset would have complained. God knows that I was ready to go on a really crazy rant on X about the heat. Did I go on a really crazy rant on X about the heat? I don't remember. Everybody, wasn't not enough time. Let's give an R for Rue here. And you know what we have on this channel? If you want to join me, and you want to help me make videos, and you want to help me be a member of my community, here is the remember emoji. Remember. So this is for everybody, Remember. I remember Rue. It was a cute dog. I loved watching video of it. I can't have a pet in here and be a good owner to it at the same time. So I enjoyed watching other people's pets. This YouTube machine is like my fish tank. RRTNZ, how do you like the new 2 to 6 month membership badge? I redid all the membership badge. Radioactive has the new 1 year badge. I went with gold. And why the red Starfleet logo? Because I'd never seen one before. Because I think that it shows that our blood is in this fight, and that we have a fight worth having. And here's some video of wonderful Rue, and you can see it. And it's a beautiful dog. It was fun and therapeutic to watch him, enjoy the dog. Not everything in YouTube has to be hard-hitting content, which reminds me, I've got a lot of script to go. So here's the deal. What happens is Josh Whedon was this. Josh Whedon was woke. Josh Whedon cheated on his wife. So Josh Whedon's Me Too is two parts. One was he cheated on his wife. So wait, how did he use his position of power over his wife to cheat on her? What was the damage outside of it? How is that a Me Too? So wait a minute. then I have to go to the island too, because I was not crazy about my wife of like, a very short time. And I was like out of there before I was out of there, but things were on their way for me to be out of there before I had moved on physically. Like I was that much integrity, but on paper, I'm as bad, right? I was gone. I was out of there. Everything was stated, but that stuff takes a while to work out. At any rate, that's his favorite video ever. Please check it out. Starfleet has updated their new uniform dress code. No, I mean, this is what I'm going to say before I go on to finish up the Firefly story is we're all that's left of the United Federation of Planets, and our Star Trek news is coming up. We're going to talk about why streaming is better for Star Trek. And if people hang out, I'll transform video from Trek culture. If people are still hanging out here, if I have a good crowd after I get through the script, and there's not a lot on the script, context and other stuff, but like talking with you guys and hanging out is the emphasis. I can't always be that. I have to deliver some re-listenability for people who come later. But let's get with story 2. As far as the Tachyon Pulse, I have been telling you about the attempt to reboot the show Firefly after the Serendipity concluded its events or whatever. Left him in a place where he could come back from and have a Last Jedi start, but then get to a redemptive place. You know what I mean? And get redemptive. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. We all have our particular taste in pets. I have I'll tell my weird pet story after this one. Yeah, take your time on that one. Get the right one for you. You were happy with the one you had before, so your process is secure. I'll show you guys the Tachyon podcast for 1 second, just because I think he's probably an okay guy. And let's take a look at the Tachyon podcast. I'll show you the guy. As you can see, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information here. Tachyon Pulse guy and I have the same fucking jacket. They give it to you when you become a Star Trek guy. What do you think of kooky looking Admiral Teag? You like my streamer beard? It's been a long time. Anybody soon, Lance Nielsen will have possibly the only photograph of me that's enduring, but it was that was for Brew. Show my face for that. It's still pretty dark. I had at least Shield director level ability deniability there. Oh yeah, RTNs. I just watched the short. Yeah, having 2 dogs. Oh yeah, it is heartbreaking. These are family members, people, and there's a lot of people out there taking advantage of our love for animals. So help the animals of Los Angeles, but be extremely cautious. Don't give to a chump like me. Don't give to some YouTube channel. Don't give to some fundraiser that pops up. Do your homework. I mean, I'm not saying a fundraiser won't pop up that's good, but follow their link. Check out the website they say to help. Do not just blindly throw money at it. I live in the city of New York. I live in the city of New York. Okay? In the city of New York, we had fire in the sky on a day named after a number, where the streets are named after numbers and places are named after numbers. On a day named after a number, there was a fire in the sky that I saw with my own eyes. I saw too much of that fire in the sky. Here's the Tachyon Pulse guy. He's all right.
Revival. And no, I'm not joking. Welcome to the Tachyon Pulse podcast part.
So, as you can see, he's a lot more British than me, so he's very believable. Check him out. His link is in the chat. And I'm sorry. Won't get another dog out. Yeah, I can see why. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, the idea of your dog outliving, possibly dogs have long lifespans, right? So even me right now, I have to think, if I get a dog, if it lasts 20 years, will I make it to the end of the dog? About 70 years in this mortal coil is all we got, right? And I'm the same age as Nerdrotic, give or take, in the same basic area. I'm sorry. You know what? They call it snake bit for a reason, right? You're going to feel jinxed. He's sports Manchester United. Not sure about that. Yeah, he's a Man U fan, but he seems all right. So, yeah. So here we go. Here's the Admiral. We can throw everyone into disarray now. Here we go. The Admiral Teag face reveal. Here it is again, guys. There I am. That's me. That's my face reveal. There you go. But he has, as you can see, he has the requisite very good collection of starships. He has a requisite very good video. He has 18,000 views in 4 days. My hat's off to Tachyon Pulse. Look at the impressive back of Tachyon Pulse's baseball card. I'm envious. Way to go, Tachyon Pulse. As you can see, I've already liked this video. He's getting close to 1,000. Now, if he's just telling people what they want to hear and this turns out not to be for real, well, then that'll be that. But I tend right now, I'm going to take Tachyon at his I'm going to take him at his word because, hey, how can a guy with a jacket that cool be all that bad? And this one's for you, JT. You like the hat? All right, so that's the Tachyon Pulse, guys. Strong rumors that there's going to be some kind of Serenity thing. The fly in the ointment, Fox became Disney, so Disney has like a sea blocking kind of thing way to stop this from happening. They may get in the way of it. They're mucking it up right now and being a real problem. Yo, Jacob Ironside, what's going on, my friend? It's good to see you. Jacob, please use your wrench to put your channel in the chat. Jacob has been with us for an episode of Enterprise. And I'm hoping that maybe in the next few weeks, he will be our first return guest. And also on the topic of guests, we had 2 guests booked for Tuesday, and they both fell through. One was Roman of the Empire. I double booked without checking because that's how these things go. I double booked without checking, figuring I can make it work with both show up, right? Worst case scenario, I'll have 2 great guests. My plan was first to get Lance. But then, like, I had been working with Roman of the Empire to do a Star Wars, Star Trek State of the Union. And the suggestion on that one is that we do it during the State of the Union, but not when the State of the Union, not like there is no State of the Union this year because in the first year, the new incoming president doesn't give one. They just give an address to Congress. But I said, like, why not do it Inauguration Day? And we'll do the State of the Union on Star Trek and Star Wars. And like, we'll like have some fun, like mock political stuff. And of course, monetization will be out the window, but like, cause the AI can't understand it's any fun. You subs. Yes. Okay. I can't check it now, but I will check it later. If I go, I have isolated only a couple of accounts on this computer, so I can't give away too much bad information by mistake. This is the work computer, guys. When the rest of the time you see me, I'm on the non-work computer. This is a tool. Don't believe that when you're, yes. Okay. And it's good to see Jacob and, FNF chat is live. That's cool. Jump in the chat. Jump to the water's warm to your toes. Everyone on X, I ain't going anywhere. Everyone on YouTube, I'm still hanging out. You know, like we're all friends here and we're all having a real good time together. My colleague and, you know, honestly, the guy who, gave me the first and probably the first proudest accolade, and one that I'll say till the day I die. The great Doomcock said that my Star Trek reviews were good and of value, and that he thought I was doing the right thing for Star Trek. I thank him. I have had a lot of my share of problems in life, but one of the things I didn't have to do was go 6 months without the approval of basically the biggest Star Trek authority that I could think of. And why DC's not doing Star Trek anymore, you know, is clear, and he's made himself clear. He's an eloquent man. But we all lost as Star Trek fans. I'm sorry that all you got is kooky Admiral Teag. I'm sorry. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, we are all that's left of the United Federation of Planets. But there you go. If you want to talk to DC and Jacob, use your wrench, my friend. He has a great channel. He's doing the X-Files. I love the X-Files. It's such a great show. It's unfortunate that the cast had, you know, some behavioral problems, and they also said some unfortunate things. I don't know if it's them as much as Chris Carter with that crazy episode with Trump. What's going on, Miss Katonic? Welcome. We're doing a little bit of news today. I heard the distinctive sound of the transporter room signaling me. We're going to go with Star Trek Protocol here. You know him. You love him. He's a friend of mine. We have him by, and he's always a lot of fun. He's a great guy. He's a great co-host when he comes on, and he's too cool for school. He doesn't mess around with that, you know, with that X stuff. He's too smart. let's transport right to the bridge, my friend and yours. He's made some of you channel members radioactive. Welcome to the new world. To the new world. Hi, my friend.
Admiral on deck.
Thank you. Isn't it crazy that 1883 ends in Bozeman, where Star Trek takes place, like Star Trek First Contact, and a lot of the scenes in Enterprise are about just reference it.
Well, you spoiled it for me since I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, it is kind of ironic that they end in Bozeman.
Well, we know that at the end of their trek, they're where Yellowstone's going to be anyway, right? So I finished 1883, and let me tell you, that was a hell of a story. It was a hell of a story. I can't wait to watch it again. I made sure to not be totally engaged with some of it so that I can preserve some of my reactions because I liked it so much. And so, like, what that lent to was just kind of getting lost in the beauty of some of that cinematography. This guy knows what he's doing with cameras and stuff. I think we have a lot to look forward in Taylor Sheridan. And I think isn't it just ironic? Our show about the old frontier ends at the final frontier of the future. 1883.
See, it is Star Trek 1883.
I can't believe how right you were. I feel like next to like on the statue of Zephram Cochrane, we need to make a Saving Star Trek movie short. We'll find like a couple of actors. We'll get like
with
one of my friends
next to it. There's a smaller statue next in the museum
of like all the Duttons.
Yeah,
we can meme that. No, what I want is like security grabbing like some like teenage to like 20-ish kid with like spray paint and like like spray painted on the base of the Zephram Cochrane statue is Dutton's rule Yellowstone. You know, it's just some cool future Dutton. That would be great. And the USS Dutton. I heard that Yellowstone ended terribly. That story's not over. He wanted people to get over Yellowstone and move on to his new Madison show, which you pointed out is part of the confluence of rivers that come together to form the Missouri. Did I put that
correct?
correctly?
It's that Three Forks. That's what the Three Forks of Missouri are. It's the Gallatin, the Madison, and the Jefferson.
What do you think about Thank you. And what do you think of the Firefly update? Would you like to see
scary? To be honest, I've got Firefly on like the box set of it on DVD, and I never opened it, so I haven't gone back to watch it. I didn't see it in first run.
It's pretty all right.
There.
Yeah, the first one they really messed up. They showed the show out of order, so the first people to see it the right way were the first people to buy video. It had a strong core of hardcore believers. Like, I guess if you were deep into observational science fiction and stuff like that, you'd be looking at it left and right and trying to. Miss Katonic says, I haven't watched the Taylor Sheridan show that I didn't like. No, I jinxed it. Yeah, just don't watch first season of Lioness. It didn't work out. Like, he almost pulled it off. He delegated too much or something. But as far as the Star Trek Yellowstone connection, what a coincidence. I couldn't believe it. It was Landman is great. Probably your favorite Sheridan show. This guy is hot and only getting better. We have some firsthand reports from people who've seen some of the stuff, and we have some information because I am, of course, as we know, the man on the Silver Mountain. So I feel like maybe the Silver Mountain won't send a hitman after Admiral, who only lives like 2 miles away from their headquarters. What do you think of this? Maybe if I just keep telling them that people tell the truth, that Yellowstone's milieu of shows are all great, that maybe they'll be like, we'll let them live because the Star Trek stuff is like 3% of our. It drags on us. I am the Admiral on the Dilithium Mountain. I was working on those words the other day. I was changing them a little bit. I was getting them towards musical. Are you muted?
Yes, I was. Sorry.
Oh, there you go. I wasn't sure, because you know what? In this business, people just do go silent for a moment. You never know. Like, I've had people spill soda on the keyboard and other stuff, so I usually give it a minute. Yeah. Yeah, I am the Admiral on the Dilithium Mountain, and I was working on the song lyrics. It was like I changed, like, it was come down with phaser fire to watch my phasers fire. I was like trying to shape it more into the song, but I've gotten used to the riff, and I've been playing. I found a playable version of it on the acoustic for Man on the Silver Mountain. But yeah, no, I'm the Man on the Silver Mountain. And because Star Trek pushed me in a position to watch Paramount, this inexpensive streaming service, aside from the Star Trek stuff, is not all that bad, guys. It's not all that bad. All these Taylor Sheridan shows, if this thing goes away tomorrow, and these shows might save it, if this thing goes away tomorrow, he's still going to be on TV. People will buy those shows. They're not going away. Was it great? Okay, they said new Lioness, so I think what happened was they probably whacked last year's Lioness special agent or How to Be Captured, right? Have a new Lioness looking for the old Lioness, and then finally they gave us a dose of Nicole Kidman and Zoe Saldana where it was tolerable, because like the cast of like cut up mercs, like they weren't quite the cut up mercs that you wanted from, like he was close. It took till episode 5 for Lioness to fall apart. Did you see Lioness RRT Radioactive?
No, I haven't. I have not seen any of the Taylor Sheridan shows except 1883. So that's,
you know what?
That's the only show I've cut my teeth on with them.
We're gonna rewatch probably 1923 season 1 during February, because at the end of February, the same day that that Infection 31 is on, Yellowstone's 1923 season 2 starts. So we know what the priority is. We have to keep the lights burning. They keep destroying my bread and butter every day. The people over at Star Trek. How do they do that? They don't do anything to me. They show up and they go to work. Their existence on TV is really tough on the brand. They're nice people, I'm sure, and I'm sure they make good neighbors, but they don't make good Star Trek, and they don't make fun to tweet with. So don't X them, and don't bother with them, because believe me, Marina Sirtis was never confronted about what she did in a way that got through to her. I don't think anyone, like her castmates, know her better than anyone. Do you think anyone bothered to tell her different if they thought that way? They're like, never getting through to her. She's nuts.
Oh yeah, she's been nuts for a long time. I recall seeing her at one of the creation conventions a long time ago, and she was a bit loopy back then.
Going back to the 90s, people were telling me that she was a freakish experience at Star Trek conventions anyway, because she would talk about how she did movies that she wasn't proud of, where she was naked, and not tell people what the movies were. And then, like, when fans would ask her, she'd look at them like they were creeps. It's like, you kind of put that out there, lady. You kind of put that out there. But she is an American citizen now via England from Greece. So I guess she has a right to give her opinion, but her dunk on the people of Texas showed enormous insensitivity, even if there is a conversation to be had about their power grid. It has nothing to do with how they vote. It's their power grid. She needed to keep that out of her mouth. What was your thoughts when you saw her go nuts like that?
Oh, you mean about the Texas snowpocalypse?
The Texas snowpocalypse is the thing she's never living down, because once you understood, and that's why, by the way, when I saw that it was more than just the usual Hollywood Hills fire, because what did the media show us? It was a procession of McLarens, like always, and they're like, the refugees are streaming out in their 6-figure cars, and I was just like, and I turned it off and I ignored it for a whole day at my peril. And then when I turned it back on, like, the only people tweeting about it were very wealthy people. I guess if you're really wealthy, you have Elon's method of like tweeting out, or there's some coverage in the city if your phone still works. I don't know what the hell it was. So today I turn on other Star Trek guys on NerdTube, and I see these freaking walls of flames. This is not good. And there's going to be triple digits of people deleted, unfortunately, when all's said and done. And it's really upsetting. There is a USS Bozeman. Come on, baby, set the Klingons on fire. That would be great.
That could be good. We could work on that. I'll think about it.
Didn't we find out that if you stun someone in the head over and over, you'll delete them too, right? We found that a couple of times.
Let me see. Isn't that what they did in
Snare and Snare?
In Undiscovered Country, didn't they eliminate somebody?
That's how they eliminated the assassins, so that the energy discharge wouldn't. be registered by the ship.
It was like silencer mode.
It was basically then you found out that basically anyone with a half a brain in that federation has known about this a long time. So you have an enhanced interrogation tool.
Yeah. They have a lot of different things in there.
What if I turn it down all the way and just stun your leg and then like pistol whip you for a while? You know what I mean?
Or just build the agonizer booth. You just turn it on and off.
By the way, the Landsman guy is Billy Bob. Yeah, right. We need a agonizer booth on this channel. That's my job, to agonize people. Billy Bob in 1883 was great, but remember that one episode with him where he's just like the local sheriff and they roll into town, they just blow everyone away.
Oh, that was a great episode.
I imagine most real gunfights went that way. He went there, and after he was sure he was talking to the right people, while they were going through the pretenses and politeness of the everyday world, Billy Bob and the other people just pulled out their guns and had their way with them, so to speak. There was very little in the way of return fire.
Well, yeah, they already had their weapons drawn. So, I mean, these other guys would be down about, 2-3 seconds at a minimum, even if they were excellent, shooters. I mean, that takes a while to do that.
We also get some amazing equestrian drive-by exchanges here with people just firing away at each other like left and right. Fun stuff. You loved her in Men in Black. Rosario Dawson, Linda Fiorentino, or Jack Nicholson's weird girlfriend. What's her name? Can't remember her name right now. What's her name? She was pretty hot. She still lives with Jack. She's finally like 60. Is Jack gonna be like 90? He's really old. Braga is from Bozeman. That's why he made Frazier captain of the USS Bozeman. That makes sense, and that's why they put First Contact in Bozeman. Wow, did you know Brennan Braga? Me?
I don't think so. I don't know. When was he living in Bozeman? When did he leave Bozeman?
You have to figure, well, here's the thing. At 40, he's making Star Trek in Hollywood. And so you have to figure he left at 30. So he's 40 and 93. So you figure, I'm guessing, so he'd be 30 and like
crossed. Our paths wouldn't have crossed.
You could have been like, please, not so much soap opera. Or is that Michael Piller who loves the soap opera stuff? I don't know. Yeah, he's got some the Tachyon Pulse guy's got a for real Stargate set up there. Star Trek 6 phases on full stun at point blank range to the head equal deletion. Yeah, but I think he says it's really like it's a rough way to go too. Like Spock's like, ooh, and like even I think Chekhov, who's the backup science officer, but whose grasp on science is as bad as mine. Even it's like, ooh. So he knows that hurts because he did it to himself by mistake and almost took himself out. That's why he got that way. That's why he got that way.
I was looking at the filming locations for 1883. They didn't film in Bozeman. They filmed in Livingston, which is over on the other side of the range.
So they did go to Montana.
Yeah, they did. They actually did go to Montana. I was surprised. And given the fact that they were stuck at the Brazos River for 7-8 episodes, I'm surprised they actually filmed anywhere else.
Reports of filming near iconic Manhattan landmarks. Reports of, that narrows it down to like 85 things. But no, a highly iconic. I was told that part of their story takes place at like, quote, in view of an iconic Manhattan landmark. But the Madison people are New Yorkers who leave. So that I see my future in that one.
That is the connection. So it's Madison Avenue, not Madison, the river.
U.S. Marshal better than Timothy Oliphant. Is he the ginger marshal who gets deleted in Us Marshals with Tommy Lee Jones? Is that who Timothy Oliphant is? I'm trying to remember who Timothy Oliphant is. I have to look at his picture. I say no one plays a better U.S. Marshal than Joe Pantaleone. How about that? What's great is his name is so weird. You just have to dial in Timothy Oley. He's just the justified marshal. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, the worst U.S. Marshal was it's not his fault. He played the part well, but did you find the hyper believability and intensified reality of those federal law enforcement guys from U.S. Marshals to be just they overshot believability and they got to like annoyance in The Fugitive and U.S. Marshals, because that's the sequel to The Fugitive is U.S. Marshals.
I never saw the sequel, and
It's not terrible.
I don't think I've seen The Fugitive more than once, so I'm not on top of that film the way other people are.
I'm on top of it because it's such a meaningful movie, if you know what I mean. It's just meme after meme after meme in that movie. And just like, and some things that we come to see later, like are done in like a bad way. It's just like, you know, we have like a great actor, but what do? We throw together a montage during the credits so that we can have the movie hit the ground running, right? So it's just like, here we are. It's just like totally out of context. We see Harrison Ford. He looks like we never saw him before. It was just
saying that I crushed her skull and that I shot her.
You know, it's wait, what? And it's like it stops for a minute. It's like, you know, another credit and stuff like that. And we cut back to the interview room, and the like that cop is like local. He's like, "What color were his eyes?" It's like, huh?
How dare you? He had a mechanical arm.
And that's, you know, that gets you ready to go. That's like the whole beginning. This is literally the whole beginning of the movie.
I came home, there was a man in my house.
Cut to black, starring Harrison Ford.
You saying that I crushed her skull and that I shot her?
Right? So they accuse him of killing his wife. He says he didn't do it. And then he drops this piece of information.
He had a mechanical arm.
And then it's just like,
find this man.
And that's it. He's on the prison bus. We see him get found. We see him at trial. We see him get found guilty. We see him on his way to jail, and we see him make a Harrison Ford like Indiana Jones escape from like this thing, and that starts your movie. And then our like federal law enforcement shows up.
I was going to say, so what we need is another Star Trek short based on this, where it shows Admiral Teague there standing in front of the wrecked Star Trek series, and then Harrison goes up and says, "Are you telling me that I destroyed Star Trek?"
Oh,
how dare you?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you with the audio there. I thought I was anticipating your statement. I was doing my best. When you have a soundboard, you do your best.
We know who destroyed Star Trek. It was Kurtzman. He has a mechanical arm.
You know what? I made this for you and me. I made this with you in mind. This is our message to Kurtzman. How do you endorse my message from both of us? Do you put your signature to that message?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, this gives
my message
seal of approval.
I'm behind in the chats. How dare you? Everybody loves that. He had a mechanical arm. Exactly. Justified is your all-time favorite non-Trek TV series. It's great. Well, I know what I'm going to be watching. You have been a really good guide. So tomorrow, I don't know, we have a really cool guest coming by. It's Lance Nielsen, he was here once before. He's an amazing guy. He does he published a book called Silver Screen Journeys. He has limited recollection of like a 10-year period of his life. There's a medical incident and some other stuff. I'm getting the book, so I'll know more later. And you know, RRTNZ will send me the key information via like a DM tomorrow, so I'm prepared. But I've ordered. The book's on its way. It was supposed to be here today, but I can't wait to read it. He weaves a fascinating tale about recovering some of like his past memories through the movies, the experience of movies, the love of the movies, the love of the movie theater, and I'm sure I'm gonna love it. But we have him coming tomorrow for Wild Geese. How's that for a special request show for our pal Tim, FKHC 2005? It's his birthday. He's 29 years old. I won't tell anyone any different. Yeah. So you know what? That was our tachyon thing, is the Firefly thing. So this is it.
Double feature, a Teague double feature tomorrow then?
There is a Teague double feature tomorrow. I'm doing, unlike the Jets, there's a vigorous series of 2-a-day workouts for Admiral Teague tomorrow. I'll be doing Lance, S.A. Nielsen, and myself doing a show for with Tim the Enchanter, and he has amazing. I would say I would want you on this one for military insight, but the thing is, it's a special request, and
Sure.
this
Yeah,
guy,
that's good.
so in this movie's like we could talk about the military aspects of it like after we like wrap this script up, because honestly I don't have a lot of news for today. I wanted to engage with people. Just I don't like having no plan. They say no plan survives contact with the enemy or reality, right? Because we have no enemy here. Our enemies maybe not being entertaining, right? So no plan to survive contact with the enemy. I figure if I have a Culture Casino sort of script where I go cover similar topics, because he is the #1 overlap in subscribers to this channel, I should probably do some of the things that he does and try to get a little better at the entertainment side of things. So it turns out we've been staked out and observing Paramount for a really long time. It took watching his show for me to realize that all those guys, what they do for Disney, I'm becoming a pretty informed Paramount observer now, and a pretty well watched Paramount person. Like I'm really like closing the gap on all. There's only Yellowstone Prime, which now has an asterisk on it, is a show that I haven't seen much of. The episodes I watched were spoiling stuff left and right. Let's see if I can.
How dare you?
There you go. We got a special request. It is U.S. Marshals is underrated. It might be a slightly better movie than The Fugitive, but Wesley Snipes isn't it. He can't just deliver what Harrison Ford can. So the movie's flaws show through. And without a return of Harrison Ford, I guess they're going to make him the fugitive advisor, which he thought was stupid, and it is. Basically, it's the same Marshall team's next case. And they chase Wesley Snipes. He's like a Gulf War soldier with a secret. And they lose a couple of team members. But the thing I hated about that show, now, as everyone knows, my family has law enforcement in it, right? I come from generational, stuff like that. My father was NYPD, and my dad, who raised me, was NYPD. And I'll tell you the one thing, here, we'll break news now. He went to his grave as a member of the Son of Sam task force, and I heard it. I got this 5 or 8 times confirmed. He never believed that Berkowitz was the only shooter. He believes that there was a second shooter, if not a third.
Second shooter. Gee, why doesn't that surprise me? There's so many of these incidents. That's a whole other, rabbit hole to go down. But so many incidents just happen to have some odd peculiarities about them, let's just say.
I have first-hand information that I can give out now that I doubt the NYPD is going to refute, and that anyone can feel free to file a FOIA act on. I don't know if it was written down, but you won't find it. The NYPD didn't want to close the case. The mayor's office closed the case. They said, there's 2 other guys out there, and they're like, no. And they're like, there's 2 other guys out there, and they were like, you got to close the case. They're like, but there's 2 other guys out there, and they're like, this guy had the gun, and he's or no, he may not have had. He might have had the gun, but the thing is, he was confessing. And he knew details for like a third of the crimes. And they're like, we feel like these other 2 sketches are legit people. And they're like, what's your theory? And he's like, 1 gun, multiple killers. And they're like, that's crazy stuff. And they're like, well, think about this. It's a cult. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, think of something crazy, like a bunch of guys who might build a compound in Texas kind of crazy gun cult. And they're like, that's nuts. That would never happen. No, it was 1 guy. That's the end of it. So most detectives went to their graves saying that there was more than 1 guy. A guilty man is in jail, just not the only guilty man, from what I understand.
Boy, I can already connect the dots on this pattern. I don't think I want to say anything at this point. I already see where this is going.
Well,
I already do.
Our next theory, that we don't believe the Warren Commission report. You know what? Why didn't they look into him deleting himself? No one ever looked into that. He could have hired somebody to do that. It's like, have you seen my wife's hands? They're as big as flippers. My manliness looks small in her hands, Bobby. Where's Tony when you need him? He's usually in the chat by now. Lance is a fascinating character. He personifies persistence despite a lot of setbacks. He is unflappable. He gets incredible guests on a relatively small channel. He got producer Gail Ann Hurd last month. I saw that, and it was great. Yeah, and then he's still also willing to hang out with me. He has a terrible sense of proportion, but I'm glad it's going to be great for everybody, and it should be interesting. So tomorrow with Wild Geese, what I would have done is a military perspective. You would prefer another perspective, a military perspective? Give us the target. Sorry, I had to do my Governor Tarkin. We could get a military perspective on that movie, like at another time. And I think it'd be fun for you and I to just like talk about it, maybe record that one and do a half an hour like military take on that movie. But before I go on to the next story, do you have any particular take on that film, or has it been forever?
I'm embarrassed to say I haven't seen that film, so it'll be a first time for me. I know.
Maybe you should be on the panel. Maybe there's a way, like we'll let Lance just do his thing. He's like, it's an incredible story.
Stay on mute if you want me to. I can stay in the background.
Here's the thing, Lance is so good. I stay on mute a lot of the time on the channel. It's like a great experience. He has like an effusive love of film. Like you don't interview Lance so much as you tell him the topic and set him loose, and he can do, like, don't get me wrong, he can do normal, he could do like a regular interview. It's just that with this movie, he says it's his favorite movie. His story about what he did when he saw for this movie, and his amazing birthday story about this movie is going to be something that you're going to want to hear tomorrow, and you should watch. Everyone should watch that, but. Yeah, like I mean, he's a great guest, and it's going to be a great show. We're going to have fun with it, but his passion, like on something like this, I'm going to just like let him say his piece and like sort of try to like maybe guide the conversation a little bit. Well, I hadn't been aware of the memory issue, so when he spoke to me of it, I said to him, like, could you imagine what it would be like if we were to wake someone up today who hadn't seen a movie in 10 years? You know, to have someone have like their memory snapped back on today and have just like been on pause for 10 years. Could you imagine what would be 2015? We were in it already, weren't we? The woke had taken hold, hadn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, certainly by that point, everyone was starting to really notice it in earnest. I think it started beforehand, but we can all debate on what the exact timeline is. But
when they came
started to creep in much earlier.
You know what? They came for Star Trek first, right? They came for Star Trek first. So I'll never have to say when they came for Star Trek, I did nothing because I wasn't a Star Trek fan. No, I've been in this fight since 2009. I've been in this fight since 2009. I saw woke clouds on the horizon, and I'm like, we got to steer around that ion storm. And damn it, it was so much bigger than we thought. It was a Cylon attack. I mean radioactive. It was a Cylon attack. This is a Cylon attack.
Yeah. Yeah, and they took out a bunch of battle stars in the process.
Abraham Beam had to be closed. Wait, Abe Beam had the case closed. Was it Lindsay? I think the deal is this. The mayor's office had it closed. So like everybody has deniability. What happened was people who are the civilian part of the police department, people who are the police part of the mayor's office, who are like also like both of these people are like para civilians, if you understand what I'm trying to say here. And like the real people who are like the nuts and bolts investigators and stuff, they just had a disagreement. And they're like, I would be willing to bet that there was something said like this. Look, if these guys are what you say they are, all we got to do is watch them until they fuck up. You have probable cause. Keep watching them. I would bet that they were quiet. They were quietly found guilty of other things that they were really doing. They were running around New York City when there was an anti-gun law with a 3-year bid. They also had every reason to stop these people, cocaine or something like that. If they had something bad on them, you know, they're going to get in trouble for every minute of it. If they were persons of deep interest who matched the police sketch and had contacts with Berkowitz, today he would just have a cell phone. Today he would just have a cell phone. And I guess, like, back to the script for a moment, we started out with me apologizing for just not knowing what's going on. But I think that people maybe understand more than they did maybe 3 or 4 years ago about having a bad take. As long as you own it and take it back and say you're a dick, which I was. I feel bad that I had a wrong take on the fire, especially after seeing the level of destruction. It looked it looked like let this be their last battlefield from the original series, Radioactive, when they're running on the planet and they're just like the planet.
Oh yeah. I've already taken a look at some of the. I watched some of the live stream out of one of the LA channels, and I actually went down on Google Maps to kind of look at some of the places that were devastated and look at what the houses look like prior. There's at least one. Yeah, that the Pacific Palisades, that whole area. If you go, you can just go up into Google Maps and go to Street View. You can look at all these homes, but they're all gone. All those homes.
Yeah.
And by gone, they're totally burned down to the ground. There's not like some rusted shell of a house or anything, but
I saw it. Like maybe if that house had an ornamental chimney, that might still be standing.
Yeah, by the way, that's basically what's left.
To leave it on just like the Firefly thing, like so we could have one little piece of good news. Nathan Fillion has more power than Disney because his shows are hits and his stuff is making money, and he has good relationships with 2 different networks and people who are like left over from Fox or whatever. So he's just like, do this my way or no, seems to be the way it's going, right? So Disney's like, you can make money or get out of the way and make nothing, and we'll do our Firefly like show. So it seems like the real person in charge now is Nathan Fillion. And by the way, part 2 of the thing with Whedon is his Me Too was cheating on his wife. Part 2 of it was they said he like bad behavior with children. That was stated in the worst possible way to make him look like the worst possible person. It wasn't sexual. He was an asshole. Charisma Carpenter was the person he was sexual to, and it wasn't like a come on. It was that he flipped out on her when she told her she was pregnant when she said she was going to keep it. And that was uncool. He was an asshole for doing it, right? So that is like the legitimate thing that he did wrong. He was like a really horrific boss. And also they said he was like...
is when you say was an a-hole.
He's probably still an asshole.
Still, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Here's the thing. He hasn't started singing a new tune, but he also he shut up about the old tune. His thing was like, if I'm woker than woke, they'll leave me alone. But what he found out is they eat their own on that side of the equation, and you can lose out very badly trying to get somewhere with that. So what can you do? But yeah, it might have been Lindsay. I don't know who the mayor was in 77. It was pre-Koch, but Koch comes in later that year, if I have it right. That case might have lasted through 2 mayors. I know that civilians were the ones who were said to make the call. A lot of cops wanted it open, but that's that for that one. My firsthand knowledge on that little piece of, and I think this is probably the most poorly kept secret in all of New York, because none of those guys were under orders to not disclose it. They went around talking about it for the rest of their freaking lives. So the LA fire, this is not a concern. He's checked in, but let's face it. I don't blame him for using this as an excuse. Ben Affleck lived in one of the burned out neighborhoods, but he just spent a long time avoiding J-Lo. So she went to the media to say she was worried about him, just calling him every hour. Her ex-husband.
I don't know if you saw this, but one of the news reporters on the street was talking to somebody, right? And up in Pacific Palisades, this is about 2 days ago or so. And,
I think it was just going. Is this about the person stopped? Because we have script on that.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen your script, so I don't know what it is. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. So he's talking to this guy, and this guy is telling he doesn't know who this guy is. So he goes, "Sir, can you tell me what's going on here?" So he says, "Yeah, we're trying to move all these cars around and get them out of the way. Please leave your keys in your car so we can move them so that the fire engines can get up the street." Okay.
Why
and
would
so the guy just asked him
away with sheer force when lives are at stake? They don't care.
So here's the thing. That's exactly what they did, from what I've heard from other sources.
Yeah, thank God they were supposed to.
Just bulldozed them around. But here's the
thing.
Sure
they're empty first.
So they asked the guy. So he asked the guy, "Sir, can you give us what your name is?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's Steve Gutenberg. I live up here in the neighborhood." And it takes the reporter a couple minutes, right? So he's sitting there. He can't compute it quite yet. He goes, "Steve Gutenberg. Wait a minute. Where do I know that name from?" "Oh, you mean you're the actor?"
He's from Long Island.
Yeah.
He grew up within. He went. I think he went to the same high school as Alec Baldwin. They might know each other.
That may be true. That may be true. So, anyways, he's being interviewed, and so yeah, Steve Gutenberg was trying to help get the cars out of the way to get. So I'm guessing he may have lost his house too. I'm guessing because
That's okay. So that's a case of being a good Samaritan. He was
Yeah.
trying to be a nice guy. He was misinformed and he was concerned about the wrong things. But I guess what he really wanted was to minimize property damage all the way around. It's like they're going to put this house out one way or the other, but maybe we could get your car out of the way first, was his thought.
Yeah, basically.
If
But
you are running to your car with your keys, they will not destroy your car if you're able to move it in time. I mean, but we're talking seconds. They're not going to wait a couple of minutes. They'll bulldoze that fucking
Well,
thing.
they had, I don't know if you noticed this, but the sustained wind speeds, I may be wrong on sustained.
I saw a
So I should say
Firenado.
sustained wind speeds, but the wind speed certainly got up to about 95 miles an hour, which is like right below Cat 2 hurricane level.
Jeez. By the
Yeah.
way, doesn't Ben in this picture look like someone who has to drink a lot to be around his wife? Honestly.
Well, he kind of
Look
looks
at his
like
face.
that look on his face, he looks like maybe he was drinking just a few minutes before.
He's trying to act like he's like, no, straight. Everything's cool. And like wearing the shirt, the tie that he's wearing that matches his shirt. Really, gentlemen, Ben's not doing a bad job here, but that was a bad choice.
So,
Here he is
anyways,
evacuated. This is what he's last seen. Here he is, just like everybody else, he's being evacuated. See,
Well-
this is the area they covered, Pacific Palisade. So it's like these are the people I know of who checked in and said they lost their houses. It was like him, was talked about. Denise Crosby talked about it, and she named Brent Spiner as someone she was worried about.
interesting.
He's-
Just so you know about that area, the Pacific Palisades fire is just one of them. I don't think it's even out yet, but there's at least 4 fires in the LA area. Okay, basically the mountain area right to the north of LA proper, the city. Okay, you've got one fire out near Pasadena, and I don't know. Have you ever been out to LA, Teague?
No.
So you
I'm
don't
still
know the LA
alive,
area.
right?
Okay, so so for those who don't know LA, are not familiar with the city, never lived there. The city itself
Real
isn't as
quick,
big as most
before we
people.
go forward,
Oh.
I just want to explain this picture quick. From what I understand, one of them's wearing a Stone shirt, so they're pretty cool. But from what I understand, not identifying the way things worked out in the first place is sort of become a thing that's bled over from her family to his. So now we have 2 unrelated kids in the same family who have sort of different ideas about what their pronouns are.
Oh, so it's just like the Brady Bunch, but the woke version.
It's Pronoun Town. Yeah, that's the name of their show. But who
Pronoun
knows if
Town.
it lasted? Here's the thing: who knows if it lasted? It was her who blasted it out there to people. Kids have weird faces. No one figures that one in, right? But those kids look fairly young. They don't cost a thing. Singer, love don't cost a thing. Singer offered assistance in any way she can for the Oscar winner. Dude, you're not going to catch him on the rebound. You already totally took him for everything twice. You've cost him 2 careers. What is he going to do now? Go back and play old Batman? And
Well, he may have to, depending on what happens with the new James Gunn Superman movie.
Oh God, that movie looks like it could use help. You might want to call him. Her legs don't look too bad here, but we're the same age. I'm gonna say you've seen me. I'm actually without any surgery. I look a lot less freakish than her, man. I look a lot less freakish for my age than her. Everyone saw me a little while ago, or at least they saw my jacket. And look, at least they tiled out his plate. This is their relationship. It's like your wife's calling you, leave me alone, go away. She's not my wife anymore. I'm trying to deprogram my son. Man, this is them younger, I think. Oh, no, 2021. Okay, yeah, it's a few years back. Okay. Of course she posted it. You can give a shit, right? Los Angeles County is this is maybe the first picture I saw that's not that contextual. You know what I mean?
Okay.
This picture's from like the first round of media. So then when I didn't do the right thing and I said a couple of stupid things, what I had to do was I immediately owned it. I apologized to the person who took offense, even though I wasn't sure they were talking about me. They're still in a group of people that I esteem and a fellowship that I enjoy being part of. So, like, you know what? Like, why not? I said, you know what? I may have gone a bit too far in a few places, and I deleted a couple of posts after I was a bit too glib, and I stand by that. Like, I was just plain old wrong, but I would say this: I'm a victim of something you're going to find more and more and more. I'm a victim of I've been hoaxed a lot of times theory. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you always use more than one source for your information. You always cross-reference.
When people went pew pew at Mr. Red, our pal Mr. Red, who will be sworn in on the 20th, our pal Mr. Red, when they went pew pew at him, did you believe it right away? You're like, it's a hoax, right? I was like, it's a hoax. I laughed it off for like an hour.
I was a bit behind on the information when it first came out, so I was I don't know, maybe an hour or so behind on that. So when I caught up to it, it was well.
Hey,
I have a unique perspective on some of these things. So when I look at it, my first impression is I'm starting to think back into my military days immediately.
I want to. Yeah, I would ask Lance, your option. You want a military advisor in on this one, or me and RRT be a? But why do I have like brain retardation today? Me and Radioactive can military advise on it, or we could just go freelance. It's your choice on that one. The Outcast Creative is Lance's YouTube channel. Lance, why don't you have a wrench? Let me fix that. Let this injustice be laid to rest. Or as I would say, as Lance would call it, a spanner. Lance, you now have a spanner. Although I will be going to Lance's page to get his channel for you. He is a great YouTuber. He's got a great story. Outcast Creative is a fun channel. Let me get it for you here. And drop it in the chat. You guys can check out Lance. I'm just going to mark this as Lance at Outcast Creative. But we'll add him to tomorrow's show now that we know he's here. And RRTNZ, this circle is of your making, Merlin. Your wisdom forged this ring. That'll be great. So, military advisor at your discretion. You don't mind? Cool. Radioactive. You're on. Cool.
Okay, well, just tell me the time to play, so I'll be there to support as you need.
I'm going to put the link in the chat now, and I'll be adding Lance to the chat. But Lance is with Outcast Creative. They that channel is great. You should sub it, and you should follow them. They have some great guests. He had Gail Ann Hurd a couple weeks ago. Great interview that I listened to, and he even consents to have kooky Admiral Teag on there, something that not a lot of people do. But you know what? He has the guts, and he says, yeah, he knows everything there is to know about the wild geese, and it gets about 10 pages in the new book. Well, hopefully there's a chance that book arrives before the show. Amazon still can find my place here in New York City somehow, but I'm looking forward to watching it with you and hearing your experiences. This is the best kind of stream, Radioactive. We have one of the few people who's been guests on this channel. There's a dozen, maybe 25. In 2 years, there's been 30 guests, maybe tops. So we have a great guest. We have a recurring panelist with you, and we've got me, and we've got the wild geese. We have Richard Burton. We have Richard Harris, who is like my favorite Richard Harris quote, man. He was at some interview, and I think he was on like a show like Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, for those Americans who know that show. Did you remember that show, Radioactive?
Oh, yeah, I remember it, but I didn't really watch it. Wasn't it a morning show? It was a morning.
It was on like after Good Morning America. Yeah, it was like a mid-morning. It was like a mid-morning show.
Yeah, there's no way I was in a position to be watching mid-morning shows.
Hello, pal Trek. Hello, pal the Dead Man, and hello to the Trek reviewer. You met Richard Harris right before he passed. Richard Harris, one of my favorite actors. Now, I'm an American, but like part of my lineage and my adopted father was 100% is Irish, right? Name might give it away. Teag's an Irish name, but Americanized, of course, for your convenience. But I loved, as an American of Irish lineage and Irish, pride, watching Richard Harris on Regis and Kathy Lee, and the interview went off the rails. Regis goes, "So I hear that you've quit drinking," and he goes, "Oh, I don't know where you've heard that. It's absolute rubbish. I've simply quit drinking spirits. I would love to have a glass of wine in the morning." And it's just like he has this incredible voice, and it's just like, so you realize he's tanked up. Then the camera pulls back and he's wearing a corduroy blazer and no shirt. This publicity was for Unforgiven. Think of what his chest looked like. His face looked like 9 miles of bad road. He's bare-chested on the morning show and out of his mind. He's hopped up right there. He was on booze and maybe a little bit of a Bolivian marching powder. But Richard Harris, they were like, this is your second Academy Award. Do you consider yourself now among the great British actors? And he stared the person down and he had a snit, and all of a sudden the voice came out and he goes, with the accent, "I'm not a great British actor. I'm a great Irish actor. I'm a great Irish actor when I'm sick and tired of the hypocrisy of the media." He was based. Listen to this one, Radioactive. Ready? "I'm sick and tired of the hypocrisy of the media. I'm sick and tired of being a great Irish actor when I crash my car or get into a fight with me wife. I'm a great British actor when I win an Academy Award. It's the damn British who are saying it about me. I don't care what they say. I'm a great Irish actor. F you, everybody." So, Regis and Kathy Lee is supposed to be calm before your first.
Now that's when they cut to commercial, right?
No, they let him rant. He's Richard Harris.
Oh.
He had won the Academy Award the night before. This is major network TV, right? I think he did, because he's in New York, right? He had done Good Morning America's New York thing, right? So then after that, it's Regis and Kathy Lee. He's still there. Kooky Richard Harris woke up at 3 a.m. to do Good Morning America. He's fucking trashed. He's been awake for 9 hours on Regis and Kathy Lee. He fucking left his shirt behind. He's out of his gourd, and he's just saying his crazy stuff. Kooky Richard Harris is Kooky Richard Harris. It was great. And it's good to see everybody in the chat. And hello, Kooky Admiral Teague. I don't mind Kooky Admiral Teague. That's fun. Kooky Admiral Teague is fun stuff. And that's usually the worst thing I call people, unless I get really passionate. But I guess, you know what? We're going to have a fine time with the Wild Geese. I love that Richard Harris is fit about being a great Irish actor. You know what? Could you imagine today? It's the Academy Award tweets out, if Unforgiven had Twitter, it would be, or had X. If it had Twitter, it would have sucked. If it had X, right? It's Richard Harris won an Academy Award last night. This is the second Academy Award for the great British actor. Community note: Richard Harris is Irish. But Doomcock made an amazing observation about his exit from Unforgiven. Was it Doomcock or was it Gary? I don't know. Someone on Pop Culture Breakdown. I think it was Doomcock. I don't know. But they talked about Unforgiven, and I can answer one question. Doomcock, the snow is in the mountains behind him, patchy here and there. It wasn't actually in the street. You did see snow in the shot. There's snow in the shot. It's not in the street. Their breath's fogging, though, and it's supposed to be the 4th of July. So that town was on top of a super high mountain where it's always winter. What do you think about that one? Does that fly for you, Radioactive? They just live above the snow line in Unforgiven.
Well, it depends on where they shot it. I don't recall where they shot the film, but
I think it's supposed to be Montana. I'm not sure. I'm not positive.
Oh,
they've got a mountain high enough to be snow capped.
Definitely have snow up on the up in the hills, and then not have any snow down below. That's
their town looked like it had just snowed. Honestly, it didn't look like rain mud. Rain mud washes the streets and pounds it down. Snow mud leaves the streets much the way they were before the snow came. You know what I mean? The snow looked like snow mud. If anyone, and that's not an insult to my boy Snow Dub, who's up to like 6,500 freaking subs. Way to go, Snowdub, man, dude. Way to go. He's just harvesting reactions of liberal tears and just like people love it. People love it. Way to go, Snowdub. Great editing, great choices. He's doing a great job. Hats off to the mighty Snowdub. Well, back to the script, Radioactive. The LA Fire. J-Lo was. Is it any wonder Ben Affleck didn't return calls until like today? Very quickly. The New York subway atrocity from last week.
Which
I was
one?
shocked.
There's
they
so
fry
many.
now. They fry now.
Oh, they fry now. Wait a minute. Now,
They-
is this the latest
they
one?
fry
'Cause
now.
I think
No,
there's-
that was a week ago. Yeah. There's a copycat. Don't
I
even
think
tell me. I don't want to know.
That's why I'm
You know-
asking, because I think there was a second incident or something, or
I
maybe it was
love-
just.
I love creative writing and I love communicating and I loved doing the radio in college and all that other stuff. I loved it. I really love it. But I found out that I hate politics and I hate news to the point where I've become a hermit from them. And that's maybe why I'm good at what I do. And when I do my research, I'm so weird about it. Like when Halloween fell on a Saturday, we had a Halloween Star Trek show. And like Halloween was like the day before or after or something like that. And we did the watch party and we had an episode called Fusion where they do a Vulcan mind meld in Enterprise. And I researched it until I found out that the director of the episode was the director of Friday the 13th, Part 3, Jason Takes Manhattan. So I connected it somehow to New York and Halloween, which is something I try to do in all research. So I can be like kind of insane and have that's my angle. I try to connect it to the theme of the day in my research. So we're doing it on Halloween. I was looking for any connection between Fusion and Halloween, and darn it, Friday the 13th, part 3, that just did it. Took forever, but I did it. So listen, the New York subway guy, it was booze. They had
Booze?
him.
So when you say booze, it was booze he was imbibing in?
Yeah,
or
he was
booze that
imbibing. It was
using
not
as
an
the- as
accelerant.
the fuel additive.
It
Or
fueled
both.
it fueled his stupidity. No, apparently it was that quick without any accelerant. I want to be careful here. We have to choose our words carefully.
Yes. Yeah.
We have to choose our words carefully. It's good to see you, Trek reviewer. And it's good to see the dead man and RRTN says Jared Harris is a massively underrated actor. He's brilliant. We're gonna work on let's pull up Jared Harris, find out exactly what he's doing here. Jared Harris. Oh, I know this guy. Yeah, he's from Hammersmith. He's literally the white man in the Palais. If you like the Clash, he's got a pretty good body of work. Let's look at his IMDb. I'm seeing good stuff right away. Chernobyl, that was a great show. The Crown, everyone liked that. Mad Men, I enjoyed that. The Terror. American Dad. Come on, he's got to be one of. Oh, Merlin. I figured he'd be one of the guys from the FBI, from the CIA. But I'm afraid to use. Yeah, no, I guess someone's gonna be talking about the fire. The show's like monetization will go away afterwards. I guess it was a nice try. It got people here, right? They're gonna tell me like later on. They're gonna be like, "Good show, congratulations." However, that topic was a little bit spicy. So the best thing we can do is we're gonna let you keep the show on there, but we're just gonna keep all the money. That's how they like to do it over at YT to keep people in. Oh, are you talking about Jerome Flynn? Wait, Jace Flynn. Let's find out. I'm getting an education today. I was getting more into other pop culture when the need to take over for the Star Trek community became a big deal. Is it Flum or Fleming? I see this guy. That name didn't come up, so I know it's a misspelling. He was the king in The Crown. Oh, okay. There was one show I never watched. I mean, I'm an American though. Like, how many British people watch The West Wing? I would hope very few. Very few Americans really watched it at the end there. That show got preachy as hell. All right. So let's go back on script here. The New York subway guy says it was booze. All right. I'm going to say this as carefully and diplomatically as I can without giving away anything about how I feel. And I'm going to try to be objective. Radioactive, you're my judge on objectivity here. You ready? And we're also going to have some fun with the New York Times style guide, because if I do this in real news style and use the real news words, I'm much more defensible. And let's face it, they're hilarious. Okay. Here we go. Unhoused gentleman detained in Los Angeles. Oh, that's next story. Ready? Unhoused extra legal returnee who shouldn't freaking be here is the guy who did it. I find the fact that he was here and getting help for his drinking problem at a place for people who need to have help and a place to sleep because they drink too much to be one of the things that shows my country and my city has large shoulders and will help lift you up. This gentleman came to my city. This guest, you see how
Guest of honor?
Yeah, this he had a hot time in the old town. This gentleman came to my town, and we were, despite the fact he didn't freaking belong here, while we worked out, because we're a nation of laws and we don't like it all the time, but due process can be a beautiful thing when it works right. I believe strongly in due process. Wouldn't you know it? This visiting gentleman, this wonderful house guest who just played with fire all over the place, he doesn't remember doing it. He didn't want to go back to the place where they give you help so that he could get boozed up and be on a train. Double tragedy. The woman that he did it to also seems to have been kind of having a hard time. Shall we say the term is, she was an unhoused individual, this poor woman, who had clawed her way back into being moderately housed. She was doing some things with her life and was proceeding in a better direction when he did this to her.
So she was to put it in YouTube speak. She was an undocumented housed American.
She was American with a chancy with a slippery hold on housing, as are we all.
So
these days, she was housing challenged for sure, and she might have needed to just like get a break. She fell asleep on the subway. She had a blanket. That doesn't mean she lived there again. The recent address on her seems to be a place she lived. People said she was nice, and people said she was getting her life on track because she got help. So there, in the same train, the yin and the yang of the human experience come together. Life in the city of New York. If there had been, and here goes monetization, right? I don't care. Fuck it. If there had been someone along the line of Daniel Penny on that train, if there had been people at all on that train, it would have been stopped. And how do I know this? Because the normal American people in LA stopped one of the people who was trying to make it worse. They caught a guy out there in our next story, moving on from that terrible story. But it was booze. If booze is running your life to the point where you can't remember stuff, you might wake up and see yourself. Did you know? Get this. He saw it for the first time. He denied it. And when he saw it, he said, damn, that's me. And he used his drinking problem as his justification. Yeah. So
I know how to resolve those types of issues, but it usually
involves marksmanship.
Well, you could use Type 0 phasers.
Type 0, or how about this? A chair that was somehow
the agonizer booth.
Yeah, like an agonizer booth, but one that was, say, made of wood, that we put some sort of current through, like the current of the ocean, that would sweep people clean.
Well, what you do is you rechannel.
Just be gone. Yeah.
Well, as Captain Decker, who was then telling Admiral Kirk, we have to shunt the warp drive engines through the agonizer booth. That's what happened in the redesign. You get
Yeah.
it?
Well, the
Yeah.
agonizer booth type 1 was the electric chair. Agonizer booth type 2 is the gas chamber. And then the perfected agonizer booth is the one we see in Star Trek. Although they added an effect to the agonizer booth scene, which is one of the very few internal special effects that they changed in Star Trek, and it sucks. It sucked. They sucked. That was one of the few things they shouldn't have done. Oof. Yeah. On like, you know what? So this is this the Dune series?
Which one?
Short drop, quick stop. Yes. This one, the Foundation. Or are we talking
No,
Asimov?
So what R&T and said is bringing up is he asked which character that Jared Harris was playing on Apple's Woke Foundation show, and he asked if it was Harry Seldon. I said, yeah, actually it was. I mean, Jared Harris is doing a great job on Foundation. It's just that they
didn't really go with his story.
There's some other good actors on the show. I mean, the show's got some high points of great acting in it, but anyway, it is what it is. They've got Lee Pace, who played in the Hobbit films, and he does a good job in the show.
Trying to figure out who he might have been in The Hobbit. Was he Thorin or something?
Yeah, I think. Well, he was the Elf King.
That guy was like partially a CGI thing. He like had some kind of like green hat on, and they put some sort of deer antlers on him. He was a weird effect, half of him in that movie.
Well, they may have done some work on that, but the guy's a tall dude. He's like 6'4" or something like that. He is not a small guy.
Well, the elves are supposed to be that big. Tolkienian elves are really tall. Now, the wood elves might theoretically be shorter because they have a different origin from the elves from the Undying Lands. One of the groups, there's two factions of elves in Middle-earth. One group fought their way over in like this crazy war for the Silmarils and other crazy things that Sauron inspired in them. And the others just sort of sprung from the heart of Middle-earth. Like Middle-earth gave birth to the Sylvan elves independently. But it was still the work of the Valar somehow. It's hard to explain. I'd have to reread that one.
No, I understand that. But anyways, yeah, that's what the side conversation is it's about we kind of got talking about Apple's Foundation show, which isn't tracking with Asimov's books. It just isn't. I mean, it's almost in name only at this point.
I'm trying to remember. Is Asimov? No, Asimov is not.
Asimov is the Foundation series versus Dune, which is Frank Herbert's series.
But what's like? Yeah, and Asimov, like he's on the phone with Roddenberry a lot, but Asimovian robots and Roddenberryan robots are completely freaking different. But Arthur C. Clarke's robots are Asimovian robots, for lack of a better term. It's the only way I could come up with to say it. So we have a decent amount of people watching, and there's 6 on YouTube. If we could get to 7, I would be willing to take a little bit of a risk on my script here. I have something a little bit shocking, radioactive. I have a thing from a channel called Trek Culture. Trek Culture radioactive. So, doesn't that sound great? A channel about the culture of Star Trek.
Is that spelled KULTURE or something like that? Cult?
No, like they didn't do it. Like they weren't even that smart. Like Kultur from like the Germans of the turn of the century. Sure. They had a chance to do something there, like Kultur. No. These people are like, they're not really into Star Trek. They're not big fans.
That. Yeah, we know that. I mean, they would have tried to at least separate themselves from the bourgeoisie, so to speak.
Now, I want to show you the difference between me and them. Now, I have a don't go after other YouTubers rules, which is why, like, if you lose your channel because you're a piece of garbage, I can go after you as much as I want, and I don't care, because you lost your channel for being a piece of garbage. But here's the Trek Culture front page. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 people with three more cartoon avatars there than I ever had a chance to draw to have drawn. And my cartoon avatar that I use once in a while is from Fet for Hire, and this one's a grok, right? So obviously, as I look at this, I know some of these people. Like Sean Ferrick and we're familiar. Not in the way he might like, but this is Sean Ferrick's deal. Sean Ferrick seemed to be the most affable person that was part of a professional publicity firm that was simply selling something I didn't like, right? So I figured I should accord him professional courtesy, correct?
Okay.
All my logic. By the way, how did I do on not being biased on the on the story of the gentleman of the New York guy?
I think you did all right.
By the way,
Maybe
I
you
wanted
should
to
take a poll in the chat.
I can take there is a poll in the chat right now. We're going to check on it in a minute. By the way, there's a story going around about the LA guy. There was someone caught in LA actively trying to make it worse. Things were going on already.
Actually, there's been several people.
There's been several, but the one I heard of was dramatic, and it was on video. So, if we're going to, first of all, let's just say this: if you have, a problem with the idea that maybe all Americans will ever come together, watch the Rainbow Coalition of multiracial people taking down this piece of garbage who they don't want burning down their hood any worse. Everybody cared. Everybody cared. There was Latino people there and white people intermixed, and I don't know what the guy was because he was mostly in shadow and stuff like that. But he's been arrested.
Let's just say there was some civilian justice going on, and it was very diverse.
You know what? There was justice. This was not vengeance. They didn't mess him up. They didn't try to take it out on him. They didn't try to do anything to him. Like, you know what? They waited for the real authorities. They believed in due process. Those were super fantastic citizens. I take my hat off to them, and also my heart breaks for their loss. But they stopped it from being worse, and they got one of the chuckleheads who was probably involved. But I think that unfortunately, this guy was just an absolute loon who saw but it was like Beavis and Butthead. It's like fire, fire, fire. Just an idiot. Yeah, like he had cleared out his brain with some good old meth years ago. You know what I mean? Guy was an idiot.
It may be true. Don't know. I can tell you that there's probably, let's just say, some active agents, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you know what? There are people who are making it worse on purpose. That has been found out. Their motivations will come to light. We can only hope. And I would this is the one thing I'd say. This guy there was a guy called I'm going to pull this up because this is my tweet. I did it. I made a mistake. I said something that was inaccurate, but this is different. This is intentional misinformation. I want to show you this. So the post was deleted by the author. All right. So here's the deal.
This one of my James Woods comment.
No, this is different. Let me show you this one.
Okay.
James Woods apparently he helped out Alyssa Milano, who's just not the friendliest person to his point of view.
Yes, he did. What he did actually, Teag, I don't know if you have this in your notes.
Helped her with her cat or something, right? Got her.
I think horses. She had horses. Don't know how large her property is, but large enough to have horses. So that speaks to several acres at least. And got the.
And they say he has a horse's
I think.
I mean, they say he has a horse's manliness. So maybe back when she wasn't mean, crazy lady, when she was kind of nice, hot lady, maybe they have a history. Maybe that's why he was able to overlook her politics, huh? Go Jimmy. But he's a total Chad for doing the right thing. Here we go. So this is, as you can see, it was deleted by the post author. So what happens is this is the post author though. Texas Patriot is just, this is all stuff that you'd like to hear and you want to see from someone, but this guy is spreading misinformation. This is just plain old misinformation. Don't tweet him. Don't attack him, but I don't recommend following him. Leave him alone. But the thing is, And how many followers does this guy have? He used that check mark. My check mark got me nowhere. I have 600 of you. Thank you so much, please, for following me. This guy's got 48,000 followers. So this is what he did. He tweeted out, and I guess he just like let people like run with it until he got shamed, that the New York Post article left out the stuff that the guy had 5 cell phones and a United Nations credit card with like thousands of dollars on it.
Okay, which person are we talking about? I must have lost.
This was the guy that I saw a specific guy grabbed up by a citizen's arrest. Like, this is the guy who you see first a couple of people and then the like 5 or 6 people grab him and he's kind of struggling and someone like does like a leg takedown and knocks him to the ground and then all.
Yeah, I think I've seen that video.
That's the takedown I've seen where it's looking really justified. Like, we see him acting crazy in the video.
So you're telling me that guy had a passport?
This is misinformation that was been deleted. This was done to get clicks, though. Like, before this guy deleted it, a bunch of people joined his X, and now he's going to tweet out the next one for his for probably future monetized X. That's the plan, right?
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right,
and you know this world better than me, Radioactive. There are places where $10 is life changing for a couple of days, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we shouldn't write off the idea that this Texas Patriot guy is just lying. So he says the New York Post has edited this info out of their article is the remaining tweet. That was the thing that he said. Now, I want to say something firsthand. If that guy didn't have that stuff, but someone had implied it, the New York Post would have printed it with saying witnesses said. And they would have gone with it, and they would have like extrapolated, and they would have wondered about it. And it would have been on Fox News. Because do you know who owns the New York Post? It's Rupert Murdoch. The stuff that you see on Fox News is tried out there first. So some of it works, some of it doesn't. Okay, I'm looking at that. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. But with the New York Post, they will go with the darkest stuff. Like it's been found out in the past that like they knew stuff wasn't true and just kept going with it because it's sold, or they like launched investigative journalism just for sensationalistic purposes on innocent people and ruin their life. Like, that's the New York Post. It was founded in 1801 by Alexander Hamilton, making it America's oldest continuously published piece of bullshit, according to Chuck T. So he said the New York Post has edited this info out of their article. Here's how you know he's lying. Real Rationalist, I don't know this guy, but he goes, got a pre-edited copy? Unfortunately, I didn't take a screenshot. I should have. 1.9 thousand people saw that. Only 6 were dumb enough to like it. But 900 people liked his original tweet and 67,000 people saw it. So how many followers did he pick up with this outrageous lie? This guy where's his retraction? This is an outrageous thing to say. You're dividing people against each other. So my response was, the New York Post will print anything, bruh. This kind of fabrication might fly for people who don't know the New York Post. If the New York Post had any of this info, even if it was strongly disputed, they'd print it and make even more money off a retraction much, much later. That's the New York Post. So, of course, that went away. He retracted his post, but let's see how much this juice this guy is. With 48,000 followers. Hey, look who it is. It's Eye Patch McCain. It's our buddy, Eye Patch McCain.
It is Eye Patch.
That was the real Eye Patch McCain. That was Dan Crenshaw, ladies and gentlemen. He's a Chad. I guess. I don't know. He fought hard for us. I'll give him that. You know, not everybody's political career works out. I don't know where he's at. Look at this Section 31 thing. They're admitting that this guy said it's bad. They're admitting that this guy said it's bad. This is unusual. I admire their honesty. But look what they're doing that Infection 31 doesn't do. They're using the Star Trek name. But look what color they put Star Trek in. Fuchsia? Fuchsia. That's not pink, right? That's fuchsia, because pink is only gay.
Well, as I've said before, the color scheme by itself, maybe not so much the artistic rendering, but
Very
the color
amateur.
scheme looks like Cyberpunk 2077 because they have that kind of color scheme in Cyberpunk 2077. So I told you before, I think they lifted it from that. That was my take, my speculation, but
I think they made one of their kids make it. By the way, just to give you an idea of like what a thumbnail is supposed to freaking look like their thumbnail. Now remember, you saw there's at least 4 of them. They're all paid and everything. This is like an Admiral Teague thumbnail. Show you this tab instead. You know, engaging, a little different, slightly familiar. You know, do I use other people's art? I have to. Is it fair use? Yes. Do I credit people if it's fan art? I usually do. Yeah, I try to make sure. You know, and this is what we do here. You know, little AI art. Do what you can. Keep it interesting. Learn how to master your Photoshop. And of late, my thumbnails have taken a jump up. I've gotten better at it. But you know what? That's my thumbnail. So let's look at theirs. This is, to me, seems to be. I thought that these guys were just this is what I think. This is my assessment of their 314,000 subscribers and their 941 videos. My suspicion is this is actually a professional PR firm hired by Public Hangout. What do you think of that? Opinion.
I think that's interesting speculation.
It's
You're
science officer, Mr. Radioactive.
Huh?
You're acting science officer, Mr. Radioactive. I'm talking to you, mister. When I ask for an opinion, I want a military technical assessment. I think this is a false flag operation by Public Hangout. What do you think of my idea?
It's very curious, Captain.
Very well done. Yeah, you know what? We'll be looking into this operation. So this is their thumbnail. It's not as good as mine. We know
that Public Hangout has done operations like this in the past.
This is, yeah. So like we already know that this is going to be bad. So like what
Once Star Trek,
there'll be less problems with this. This is called transforming content. Now they have subtitles. I want to tell you a little bit about our guide, Sean Ferrick. And we have to do this because they have permissions we don't have to keep me from being able to. I can't mock them. Guys, this is what's called pulling out my full game. One of the things they do to try to keep me from mocking them is they can pull longer pieces of video from Star Trek than I have because they have the express written agreement of Star Trek. But I can do this. You like that, Radioactive?
Let's see here.
No, they can't see. But I threw my logo up over their video. I'll take it down once in a while. But like when their video is going, like what's more important is that we hear Sean Ferrick. So now we've transformed their video, right? It's pretty small. Let's see if I can't bring you onto here by adding to this one. I have to delete a line out to fix this one. You're on Inviso mode. Let me see if I can find another layout. So there we go. It's really small, and now we're both kind of visible. That's cool. All right, our bubbles will pop, and people will have that continuity. We're covering up their mistakes here, guys. Believe me, because they're going to show a lot of new tricks.
Once Star Trek went digital, the franchise was changed forever.
So his point of view is that this is a great thing. Your job is to remind me to keep turning on the logo. Okay. So here they are. They're showing Dixon Hill. The first thing they show you, it's not really Star Trek looking. It's Star Trek, how the streaming era has improved Star Trek. So to establish that they're talking about Star Trek, what they do here is they show you all our characters out of context.
Okay.
Think about that for a minute. Now, Sean Ferrick, our narrator here, he doesn't very much like me. What happened was this. You know that there's a war in Bible land? It's terrible stuff. It's going on 8,000 years now, the war in Bible land.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. All right. In the Holy Land, there's a war. This war is horrible. and our heart breaks for all innocent people involved. And at this point, I'm going to show you why I don't weigh in that much politically. Do you remember when there was a hospital that was hit by a that was blown up somehow in this conflict? Did you remember that? There's been many terrible stories, but do you remember that one?
I remember. Yes, I remember the story
Okay.
coming out. Yeah.
So Sean Ferrick of Trek Culture gets on his X machine and he posts condemning the first people that it was attributed to.
Okay.
Side B. So should we call them the stateless actors of Side B?
Okay.
Does that sound fair? The stateless actors of Side B have done. Oh, they have a state, don't they? They have another country that they're actually a state in. All right. So these bad assholes were blamed for doing it first. So he condemned them and their entire side.
Okay.
Then the blame shifted to the other side because the fake evidence from Side B to incriminate Side A comes out. Side A kind of shows some more definitive proof that they didn't do it. So I tweeted to him. I said, "You've changed no mind." This is when I said something to him. I said, "You've changed no minds. You've been going all day. You've blamed one side and then the other. What does this have to do with Star Trek?" And he called me a stalker and he called me like a hetero supremacist or something crazy like that. Because he always has to make it about like that he, I don't know what his deal is, but he always has to make it about his deal. Like until then, like I was just like trying to like just view him as like a competitor who worked for like sold a product I didn't like, but wasn't a bad guy. Like his tale of like losing weight and other stuff like that was interesting, but he himself not so interesting. Just so this is how the streaming era improves Star Trek. This usually takes a little bit, but call your friends. Admiral Teague's transforming, and he's going to lose his. He'd probably lose his channel tonight. Let's see if he can pull this off. But get this. So when I interceded to him and I said, you know, you've changed no minds and you've blamed both sides. Where do you go from here now that you've condemned all sides and have no state? You were on one side until you thought that they did this. You didn't wait even 10 minutes. You tweeted out that they did it. You tweeted out that you believe they did it. You did confirmation bias for all the thousands of people for your corporate Twitter account that's pumped up as could be. And you're going out there on a political rant when you're supposed to be a journalist. You're a journalist in entertainment, not world policy, not military conflicts, not Middle East policy. But this guy's out there making a big deal out of it. And what he does, it is a big deal, but he's weighing in like he knows. He blames one side, then the other. And when I said, where do you go from here? And now that you've condemned, like, you know, both sides of an 8,000-year-old conflict, you're going to figure it out in the next 5 minutes for us? And he called me a stalker and he blocked me. That's our host. That's how he chooses to go through his life. Could you imagine?
Oh, he's not the only one that has that kind of mentality. You know that.
Unfortunately, I've found that out in this like hobby, but this is 12 minutes. I don't think we'll ever get through all of it. I'll turn off the sound and I'm going to read the subtitles here. Here we go. The franchise has changed forever. Those of us old enough to remember terrestrial broadcasting feel the frustration of having to wait for runs and international distribution dates. I guess he's using British colloquialisms here, because he's Irish. He uses like Irishy English. And I really honestly thought he was okay. He like freaked out on me really bad. Like all I said to him was like, maybe you shouldn't have weighed in. Why are the people on Enterprise watching The Last Jedi? Is that Rey? It certainly looks like Rey. Is that Daisy Ridley? She wasn't born when this came out.
Wait a minute. What film are they supposed to be watching? I don't recall.
I think they might have done something.
No,
here
wait a minute.
with their own Photoshop. They're always Universal.
Weren't they watching like an old classic movie from the 40s or 50s?
They always watch old classic movies from the 40s and 50s. We don't see them watching it, but they talk about how much they love to watch The Twilight Zone. Trip had mentioned it in the next episode. He loves The Twilight Zone. And they watch a lot of Universal monster movies because Paramount Universal, they combined, and they'll watch Paramount movies. Like one of the things that we're joking about when we did the Detained upload was Trip goes on a really punitive attack run on this planet, and it's really out of proportion to what's being done when they could have beamed their people out, but whatever. So they do what they do, and we were just like joking around about how like he should have called the shuttle the Colonel Green and all this other stuff. And I was like, "What do you think is up with Trip?" And Sean gave the best answer. He goes, "I think they just showed Top Gun at movie night," and like without missing a beat, it occurred in my mind. I was like, "It was a Paramount movie, Captain. I loved it." Because it is. So they're watching a Paramount movie. Here we go. An international dates before we could catch our. Let's hear his voice.
Our favorite episodes again. Streaming has.
This is one of the things that people say is cool about Lower Decks. When they watch log tapes of Star Trek, it's rendered into the TAS format. I'm going to admit right now that's relatively clever.
Has changed how audiences interact with media. Gone is the appointment television format that marks
the appointment television format. Did an AI write this?
So much of Star Trek's early success and challenge.
See,
well, the whole thing may be done by AI because the voice sounds a little digital.
No, his voice has just been like, I've never considered he could be a character, but no, I've seen him interviewing people and sitting down with like Anson Mount.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he doesn't exist. What I'm saying is that he may have produced it with using AI to help just ease his work.
He may have put his voice through an AI filter. That he may have had he has enough money to possibly has enough money to have a technology that he could just type in and it would go close to his voice. I don't know. Yeah, it might be. I wish I had an AI on my voice. I have to just do 3 takes and put them together because I talk like an idiot, as you all know. And thank you for subscribing. I love you guys. We're looking at some Trek culture here. I'm taking a little bit of a risk. They're going to be unhappy about this.
Challenges. The Friday night death slot spelled doom for the original series, so one wonders what would have happened if such a thing didn't.
All right, so what they're saying here we go. There's their premise. Star Trek streams now, and Star Trek sucks now. Star Trek used to be good on regular TV because it was good enough for regular TV, and Star Trek was good on regular TV. So the point of this is going to be Star Trek sucks because Star Trek's always sucked, and it's not on regular TV, and that's better because it doesn't. We don't have to have things like endings, and we don't have to do things like answer questions, and we don't have to have people's attention held. We just drop this on the person who bought it and walk away like it's the hot garbage fire we made. And of course, look what show they're showing, guys. It's Voyager. It's our pal, the Voyager. That terrible Voyager show. Oh, I like it better than Deep Space Nine, but I do not like Deep Space Voyager very much. I'm sorry, I do not like the show Voyager very much. It's not bad.
Star Trek Voyager.
Star Trek Voyager is Shakespeare in the Park compared to modern Star Trek.
Exist. Star Trek Discovery was one of the first.
So of course he's talking about Star Trek Discovery, so they show their 1 second of special effects. And so that's what they're going to do. They're going to show us. I don't have to do any more of this one. That's enough transforming, guys. They're out to get me. I'm not going to feed myself to them. I might hang out with Radioactive and transform this via upload where I can't get in trouble. But right now, that's about as much as I'm willing to do. I transformed it heavily, and I'm willing to take my chances. We know that there's haters out there right now, just like time coding this and being dicks. What are you going to do? That comes to business, and good luck. Here's the deal. They're going to then damn with faint praise television broadcast network Star Trek as though it didn't work out. And we're all so much luckier now that we have great
revisionist history. It's revisionist history.
It's actually it's like gaslighting.
Gaslighting
is history. Specifically, it's gaslighting. What they're going to do is there's enough bad Voyager and enough like weird out of context shit from Star Trek that they're going to show it to you over and over. And then Sean Farrick's going to go on and on talking about like, this and that. They're going to show you original series stuff without the updated effects, which is how most people see it. And you have to hunt around to get it with the original effects now, but they'll show it to you that way, and they'll find the worst ones, and they'll show you that, and they'll show you Kirk, under control of Plato's stepchildren, where he's trying to be like a stallion, and they have him playing like a human chess piece and all that stuff, and with the dwarf riding his back and everything else. Just they'll show you one stupid thing after another, and then they'll be but after all, old Star Trek wasn't all bad, and they'll show you Kirk and Uhura kissing, and they'll just end it like that. And they'll be terrible storylines like Kodos to the Star, non-body positivity female leads. That's the kind of nonsense you're in for. But while they're saying this nonsense, they'll show you just out of context stuff portrayed as a fail. So
because the idea behind doing that is like you said, it's like gaslighting. So they just show a scene without context, but then they overlay a narrative. The idea is to overlay a narrative and set the framework for their what's the word I want to use here? Their dichotomy.
They're freaky,
right?
Oh.
It's
un-American.
It's kind of like the idea of what you call a wrap-up smear. So the idea is first you plant the idea, right?
You're damning it with faint praise. This is the same as you smell great for a fat guy.
Well, you plant an idea, and then you let that idea take hold, and then you use that idea that's now quoted by other people and claim that as factual evidence that the idea that you planted is tangible and is real.
All the while not admitting it. You're showing a video montage.
That's why it's
the first thing they did.
Is the idea is you first you have to plant the evidence for someone else to pick up, and then once they pick it up and run with it, then you can use this third party as your source, okay, for the evidence that you actually planted yourself.
Well, here's the thing. They're using firsthand evidence and the power of suggestion. This is you actually joined the channel off one of my propaganda videos that I did about how they just lie, and it was these particular people. What they do is they mostly what Trek culture does is they pretend to be a celebration of Star Trek, but it's just Bree Beecher is the other chick, who's stuff I do watch a lot. She'll make a list of the 10 worst captains of Star Trek. All the list stuff is always Bree Beecher. Bree Beecher will be the 10 worst captains in Star Trek. Number 1, James Tiberius Kirk. He went back to the Genesis planet. He let his son use proto-matter. He abandoned his child. Just bad faith bullshit. And it's just always just to shock you. It's the rug. There's no rug pull. It's designed after other successful forms of media, but without the rug pull. The rug pull is them hitting you with the insincerity. It's like a cryptocurrency kind of thing. It's like Haktua. Was she ever real?
Yes. Yeah. Look, there's many analogies you can draw from some of these statements that they made. Let's put it that way.
There's a lot
of analogies you can draw from it.
Well, we
know where it's going.
We saw where it's going because when we saw the crew that they will favor the most, the only one they give decent treatment to, the TNG crew, they were not in their Starfleet uniforms. They're trying to divorce what they think is good Star Trek from the Star Trek that is associated with the familiar uniforms, the familiar logo, and the more familiar ships. So the people that they they're going to power wash off. This is how you know they don't like Kirk. We never see him in his Native American outfit. We never see his Guardian outfit. We never see him in his his Earth clothes from the 20th century. They always show him in that Starfleet uniform. And they usually try to show him in his dress uniform or his red movie uniform. They never want to show him in the one that they kind of use, which is your most powerful Captain Kirk images when he's wearing the same uniform as his men and showing that he's a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, let's see. Gateway Pundit, I've heard of them. Yeah, possibly connected to the latest SoCal wildfire. This is the video we saw. This looks to be very evenly reported, and this seems to be pretty unbiased. Gateway Pundit, from what I can tell, just from their headline is pretty responsible. Brave LA residents take matters into their own hands when man possibly connected to latest SoCal wildfire tries to start one in their neighborhood. You know what? Good for them. There's probably no proving that he was part of it unless we have bike. Who knows? Maybe there's bike video of him, like video of him riding his bike away from it or something like that. Like he stole like a city bike and he's just riding away on it or something. Who knows?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Now they did capture on camera some other incidents.
There's
Not
a bunch
in
of
LA,
but
but in Santa Monica. And Santa Monica is roughly about 100 miles to the north.
Well, we know how it works, right? If there's problems in LA and you're a low life in Oakland, you start driving. You start driving south. If you're a low life in Philly and there's trouble in New York, you start driving. Start driving east. Start driving east. Going to New York City, going to cause some freaking problems, you know? And then your town becomes an idiot convention for the worst actors. So there's a fire somewhere. I'll just start one. I'll take everything I want here and I'll start a fire on my way out. F everybody. That's what's going on. I even saw an X post where someone said, since there's a fire, I would rather these underprivileged people have a TV they could sell to recover from it than it burn. And I'm like, geez, you're creating another person for the first responders to have to rescue. You know what I mean?
Oh, like, yeah. There's a lot of different things going on here in with this LA set of fires. It's just too deep to go into here, but there's a lot.
It absolutely looked like the episode let this. You know what I could actually do? I could take the episode, this is their last battlefield. I could reduce the visibility and I could put the X feed from people's like phones of the fire, and I could put Lokai and Beal in front of it running. Is that in poor taste or is that commentary? I don't even know.
Maybe too soon.
Yeah, but yeah, life imitates Star Trek. It is too soon, but again, my heart goes out to everyone. I'm not recommending a charity that I haven't heard of or haven't had a chance to research. Charity is going to pop up. The only thing I know for sure is Roman of the Empire, who's coming here next week at some point or the week after to do a Star Wars, Star Trek sort of meetup. We're going to we'll have to run this disclaimer. What do you think of that one? Sorry. But you know, there's still 4 lights, guys. If you're on X, check me out here. That's me on YouTube. And we'll be back Sunday with Carbon Creek on Enterprise. Did you ever see this one? This is the part of the show where we get ready to tease the Saturday show and say goodbye, because we've tipped our toe into news. I've tried to stay unbiased, and I've tried to give everyone a reason to feel okay, which is look at the good people of Los Angeles banding together to stop these horrible criminals. This guy, from what I saw, by all appearances, in my opinion, is a horrible criminal. A horrible criminal. Now, I've seen other channels that are doing a much more sensationalistic and much more doomsaying approach to this. Have at it. There's sensational video out there. Show it. Do it. I think that one day we'll all be glad that on this day when there was so much going on, I kept it light but in touch, and I tried to just not tell you guys anything that wasn't true. We had a lot of fun with the New York Times style guide. The unhoused gentleman detained for a polite chat with officers of law. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, that's the world we live in. So you can make fun of it. If I try to stay neutral and be seen as fair enough in my brokering of how I feel, and don't go deep into the weeds, maybe I can give people a little bit of something to hold on to in this sense. That X guy was bad misinformation, and look how well he cashed in on it. So next time he lies, he'll go up to like 150,000 followers. if it looks too good to believe, you got to really think twice about it, especially if it's exactly what you want to hear. And you all know this. I don't need to tell you guys. We have some of the smartest people in chat ever, but you know, I don't want to be the guy telling people how to live. I don't want to be the guy telling people how to vote. I want to be a guy telling people, save your money, don't go to this movie. And we kind of got sidetracked into Star Trek in a deep way. So let's just see what's going on with David Bowie. Everyone likes Starman, Hippie Bowie the best. It's not even close. Anyone wants to try to rescue Wally's changing, go ahead. But Starman Bowie's the best. I would have voted for brush cut David Bowie, all right? I don't know. People like industrial David Bowie too. What can I tell you? A lot of 14s on there. Play that number in the lottery. You know what, Radioactive? I think the chat and the people out there voting in the poll are trying to tell us that we're caught in a temporal anomaly by signaling 1414 over and over, because we're on a very binary date and time. Is it not 0110?
0110.
Right? Or in Europe, 1001.
Ah.
The date, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Today is 1001.
Yeah, I was trying to incorporate the year, and then that's where it lost me. But
0.25. Well, that one, it doesn't go binary any further than that. In 2010, they must have, like, math nerds must have been going crazy on that one, right? October 10th, 2010. They must have been like, oh, but we got in January 10th.
Let me see. Binary, the 4 in binary is what is it? It's 0. No, it's 10. 10 is 4.
Wow.
Isn't it? No, it's
I
not.
don't
Wait,
think so. I think it would be 10101010 would be 4. You have to go on, off, on,
no,
off.
100 is 4 in binary.
Isn't one way of understanding binary to call it Morse code? Because you have two numbers on and off? Or is that crazy?
You can use Morse to do binary, but binary is actually a number system. So it's base 2. So the first digit is 2 to the 0 power. Second digit is 2 to the first power. Third digit is 2 to the second. So that's why 4 is 100. 2 would be, if you only had 3 digits, it'd be 010. 1 is just 1. 0 is 0. I just lost.
Yeah.
Everybody. But
yeah. Welcome to math class. No, that's cool. You know what? If I didn't like it, I have some very mean video I can play now when people don't say things I don't like. I can just do this one.
Shut up! There you go.
That one didn't work out. I didn't get a smooth flow on that. I need to see him hit the soldier. Shut up! Why is it freezing on me? Damn.
If I want to hear from the science officer, I'd ask him.
So right. One of the best things you can do is give us a like. If you're over on X, you know what? Follow me. There'll be more. But let's settle the great David Bowie debate. We have 14 votes.
Tin Machine. We just go with Tin Machine. That's what we do.
Yeah, I mean,
clear the slate. We say.
I couldn't believe my friends were like, we were hanging out and was just like smoking, like it was the 80s, like smoking cigarette after cigarette and joint after joint. And so we were like hopped up and stoned. And so she's like, well, hyperactive and really high on weed. My friends were like, we were in the David Bowie video, check it out. And it was just like, I saw all my friends like jumping on stage, like feet from David Bowie, or like David Bowie was like dancing around, like pointing to them. But like Tin Machine, guys, David Bowie died 9 years ago today. It's 9 David Bowie-less years. He made it to 69 years old. People, this was one of the reasons I really just gave up on Facebook. When I quit smoking, I was like really happy that I quit smoking. And I didn't turn into like the world's worst person about it, but maybe 2 or 3 years after I quit, Bowie died, right? And my comment was, one thing that sucks is that we could still have David Bowie. Find a picture of him not smoking a cigarette. And it's very hard. And what's really crazy, even crazier than that, because his voice was so great, just thinking of how much he smoked, his voice is so great, and he smoked all those cigarettes. I don't know what point he told himself it was a devil's bargain and the cigarettes were his voice. I just don't know. But it's hard to find him not smoking cigarettes. Somebody attacked me back in the days of Facebook and said, "You piece of shit. He never smoked when he sang." Which, first of all, huh? But within my first try, I found video of him smoking and singing. He just smoked throughout his like practices and shows.
Well, there you go.
What was crazy was he was singing. You can find this one, Under Pressure with Queen and Annie Lennox with David Bowie. After Freddie Mercury died, she sings the Freddie Mercury part and he sings his old part. He's standing there and he's just smoking away, and like the smoke's coming out of his mouth while he's doing some of the greatest singing ever. And it's just like, how can he, how? So I don't know what to tell you about that one, guys.
Man. It's genetics.
It's genetics. Yeah. It's like, it was like really, really, really had it out for us. And by the way, it really does. Oh, what? This is the video.
It is so that's the one.
There's my friend. I know that guy. Yep, I know these people. I sat in that couch while they pointed themselves out to me.
Actually, this was quite a break from all the Bowie that had gone on for the previous 20 years, I think. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. I'm going to give
musical stylings.
David, here's the thing. They had a lot more competition than a modern band. And I'm going to end the poll, by the way. Starman, Hippie Bowie, number one, and 33% of you thought Always Changing was the best. I would be torn between MTV Bowie and Always Changing is the best. The Mercurial David Bowie, 15 votes. You guys really cared about that one. Thank you. So here, let me just show you for a second. I guess I can show it to you. Tin Machine. This is just, it was David Bowie. Basically, my friends were like, "You like that heavy metal music, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "David Bowie's doing it now." And they showed me this video, and I would say, the song, while better than I remembered, it's not very melodic and musical. And it wasn't like they wrote it for David Bowie to be the singer. And here, you're getting the idea here. Look at, is it Dave Sales and Hunt Sales? They're the sons of Soupy Sales. You can't make this up. Radioactive. Did you know that piece of trivia?
I did not. No, I did not know that connection.
They are. They're the sons of Soupy Sales. And so what they did is, this is David Bowie doing metal. And the songs were all right. But yeah. So he did like a 2-day shoot at a closed nightclub, and they just set up their stuff there. This band toured, and it was just like, it was so weird. Like David Bowie's in a heavy metal band. I think my friend would see if the person I know. Do I know any of these people? I can't tell. It's too fast. But there you go. David Bowie also in Tin Machine. He like quit his music and went back to do it like so many times. Like the last time he said, "I'm never doing my material again," I was like, "Yeah, sure." But then like out of nowhere, he just died. Mick and Keith must be like, "Yeah, it's a shame about Dave, eh?"
Well, he was actually sick, I think, for about a year or so.
Which is why the picture I saw of him today, where they said last ever picture of David Bowie, like, what do they mean? Last ever picture publicly? Because he looked great in the picture. And the last picture I saw of him, his face was caving in on itself because he was so messed up. He got like, it was in his mouth, I think, and stuff too. Like,
he
smoked like crazy. Don't smoke.
What I recall is that he passed away from pancreatic cancer. And that is,
I guess it spread there, but I mean,
it's nasty.
He was, here's the thing though, how did the carcinogens get in his blood?
Well, You don't know all the
not-
details, but obviously,
not,
when
but
you
I
imbibe
mean-
in a lot of the stuff he did, then yeah, it accumulates.
I would just urge our friends out there: don't be an idiot like me and waste a lot of your time and money on tobacco, because it took David Bowie away from us, most likely. And you're right. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But it would seem to be like, and we, it's too bad because he had a great voice and he was a charismatic performer, and we should all resent him a little bit, but also appreciate him too. Because maybe it didn't have to happen. That's what honestly played into my quitting smoking was that I was like 38 years old or something like that. And I'm like, I've been smoking for like already like 20 years. No one will feel bad for me if anything happens to me. And one of my friends died like yesterday, and no one has given up what happened yet. I'm still waiting for that shoe to drop on Facebook, where I go to find out if my friends are still alive. That's all I go to Facebook for. Life on Mars, the light blue suit is his best singular look to me, followed by the thin white Duke. I give it up for both of those. I love the album cover where they render him into like a hyena. That was some fun stuff. And I take my hat. I also enjoyed the stuff where David Bowie, like, I like this sharp modern look for like the sharp modern love era. It's just like, I don't know, like I liked MTV. I didn't connect that he was the same guy who did Space Oddity, a song which I really didn't like Space Oddity as much as I like Let's Dance. I'm a weird guy. What's your favorite David Bowie song before we sign off?
Let me think about that one.
And if you say run, I'll run to you. Is that one?
It may be Golden Years. That's one of my top ones.
That's a good one.
But he's got a lot of good ones.
I stumble into town just like a sacred cow. Right? There's so many good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That album is great.
Do you have his greatest hits album?
It's got to be like 4 discs long. I have streaming music. It has to be. David Bowie, just so many great songs, so many other great artists. It would be remiss not to mention 2 very special guitar players that we had in this world, were Mick Ronson and Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan is the guitar player on Let's Dance. That's why all those guitar solos are really good. The guitar, he lifted Albert King guitar solos note for note. They're Albert King solos, but they are really good. Like that solo on Let's Dance and the solo at the end of China Girl, it's really, really good. So that's how we got kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and that's what made him, got him, propelled him forward to do his thing. And then Mick Ronson on the early stuff just had this riffing Rolling Stones-ish kind of vibe to him. Like Spiders of Mars is a great song. Spiders of Mars is a great song. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say my favorite David Bowie look. How about this? I'm going to go for a really crazy, crazy look. Remember when he was screaming Lord Sutch in the video for Jazzin' for Blue Jean? It was like the last song they were able to tear off of Let's Dance, I think.
Okay.
Young Americans is a good song. I think Whitney Houston's aunt is a backup singer. I believe that Stevie Ray Vaughan disliked him. Moby told the worst David Bowie story. He took a hit for telling the truth. Should I tell Moby's David Bowie story while you think about your favorite David Bowie song and we get ready to sign off?
Sure.
Glad you guys all came here. We're going to get off before the Magic 3 pops up. I promise. All right. So the Stevie Ray Vaughan story I heard is that he lifted all his guitar solos off of Albert King solos, and it matched up. That turned out to be true. David Bowie, like, let me see. The Mick Ronson stuff was so good and so catchy that it fuels his early career. David Bowie can play the guitar a little bit, but this was one thing that always was kind of out there. And so when David Bowie died, they got together all these celebrities, and Moby had done a 3-song set with him to do the Grammys, like only about 8 or 9 months before he died, but right before he disappears, right? So they were like, or maybe it was a couple of years earlier and he'd done it again. But the thing was, it was notable because they did a couple of songs and like people thought it was great. It was a stripped down David Bowie. Moby only played the acoustic. And they said, what was it like to work with David Bowie? And he goes, well, people are going to hate me for the story, but here's what happened. We were going to do a song for whatever the American Music Awards. And I said, you know what we should do? Let me do Heroes on the acoustic guitar and you could sing it. And he goes, oh no, that's no good. I can't do that. And so Moby, who's from New York City, who I've seen around and who, by the way, does put on a good show. He's like, come on, man, like the Velvet Underground, man, and your voice will just do way. I'm sorry, he goes, oh, you're like Heroes, man, like everyone will love it, like your voice, acoustic. It's never been heard that way before. It's like it's kind of an overproduced song. We can do a different approach. You'll love, like people will love it. He goes, what happened with that was I was trying to play "Waiting for My Man" by the Velvet Underground on my guitar, and I just couldn't get it right. So I wrote my own words, and I just stole the song. So if you play it on the acoustic, people will realize that. So we can't do it. And Moby goes, and God damn it, he was right. It's true. It's true. Waiting for My Man is Heroes on acoustic. Hey, Peter Venkman fan site, my good friend and a loyal and great supporter on X. You should put your X in the thing if you want. Say hi on your way to the puppet show. Oh, which is Snowdub is on. Say hi to my man Snowdub and congratulate him on all the new subs. Tell him I'll be off the air in like under 7 minutes. Luther Vandross helped arrange Young Americans and was a backup singer on the album tour. I knew about that one. All the way from Washington. I love David Bowie. Hey, John's still lurking. And RRTN thought is I read a book by Bob Jones, an Aussie karate expert and nutcase who is David Bowie's bodyguard in the 70s and 80s. He's described David Bowie, David Robert Jones, as extremely into better living through chemistry. Yeah, I believe that. And also, young, he was kind of tough because David Bowie had one blue eye and one brown, right?
Oh yeah, I knew that. Yeah, very few people have that, but it's an actual thing.
He wasn't born with it.
He wasn't?
His was allegedly from a fist fight. So David Bowie fought. David Bowie would go out there and fight. David Bowie would go out there and fight. Well, I mean, I think he was kind of a wild club kid, young, whatever else we thought about him. Like David Bowie, in the words of Luca Brasi, he had a masculine side as well. Weird thing to say in 2024. This weird guy who invented being androgynous, but was able to be he's kind of like Star Trek Enterprise. It's a prequel, but it gets a pass because it was an early prequel before other prequels. It's got strong female characters, but it gets a pass because they're well constructed and they're easy to like. It's funny how many things apply to those two things. But listen, tomorrow, the Wild Geese. I think it's tomorrow. It's scheduled for 2 p.m. I can get this in before a football game and have my friend from England be able to get some sleep. Lance is the best. He'll be with me tomorrow. You're going to want to check this one off now.
East Coast time.
East Coast time. This is United States East Coast time. Thank you. Thank you very much, Radioactive. Well, the link is in the chat. So if you go hit the notification, it will be synchronized to the time zone that you are in or that you set your computer to if you're one of those sentimental people who has a girlfriend in another town and sets your computer to like Tokyo time. Whatever. We're not here to judge. Everything is good. But the Enterprise Watch Party is coming up Saturday. I actually am going on a couple of minutes early every week and doing this week in 2002 to get people in the door and do something interesting. I'm getting a lot of DMs. People it worked out that way. Again, you guys have been my best feedback. It worked out that way. I ended up reading the chats at the chats at the beginning of the show all the time. And sometimes I'd come there and there wouldn't be enough people there to read the chats, and I'd just go into my script and then people would show up and they would accidentally kind of get overlooked. On Saturdays, it's scripted to a degree that I have to concentrate on watching the episode and reading. And I'm counting on Resolute Germ was the co-pilot of the channel, and his schedule has changed now. We're going to be having a talk about who gets the keys to be the co-producer tomorrow and highlight stuff, because I did miss stuff, and I tracked Ruby Hoove down across the internet. And if I couldn't thank her myself, I was going to buy a super chat to have Culture Casino thank her for me. But thank God I got there and thanked her myself for the 2 memberships to the channel. I thank them again. And also the Wild Geese tomorrow with Lance. It's going to be a great time. It's 1900 UTC tomorrow. Thank you. So now I can remember that. If 1 p.m. is 1900 UTC, I can keep that. Well, Radioactive will be able to tell me UTC. He's smart like that.
You're 5 hours behind London. That's the thing to keep in mind.
That I knew. I did know. I was on top of that one. And also what's weird is I'm also 5 hours behind Greenwich Mean Spirited Time. Coincidence? I think there's some collusion going on there. I think we need to look into this metric deception. Why is Greenwich Mean Time? Yes, exactly. How can Greenwich Mean so Greenwich Mean is in England? Because I wanted to fly to Greenwich Mean to see where time was made. Is there a time factory there?
There might be.
Today's poll was almost, what's your least favorite device? Time travel, multiverse, doppelgangers. I was going to give that one to people today too, but maybe we'll save that one for tomorrow. We have a great episode of Enterprise coming up for everybody tomorrow. It's Carbon Creek, and you're going to love it. It's 1900 Universal Time Code, and the Wild Geese, check it off. It's on tomorrow, and that means goodbye Ruby Hoove Day. Who could get a membership from you? A few people. Well, that brings us to the end of another one. You guys have earned Sydney Sweeney, because we got to get out of here before it hits, 3. Okay, I'll shut up. I'm sorry. Saving Star Trek is brought to you by Genius of Gene Roddenberry and the generosity of Star Trek fans like my good friend, RRTNZ. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for The Wild Geese. Bye.